Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching Where It Was Sim again. Sorry about my two other live streams. I'm very sorry that my mic was broken, but I'm pretty sure I did fix it now. So yeah, just using another phone to make sure my voice is working, and it is. So you guys should be proud of me for, figuring this out. I wasn't sure why it wasn't working in the first place, but then I realized that it was because some other microphones were getting mixed up with it. So, after turning those off, it started working great. So that was the problem with it, and since I finally figured it out, I will be able to really be live for a few hours right now, giving you guys an emergency update on what we can expect with Tropical Storm Debby. So if you guys look right now, let's go ahead and select this radar down here. A lot of it is already over here, and this has actually already turned into a low-end tropical storm, by the way, guys. A low-end tropical storm has been, reported at this latest Hurricane Center update. So definitely looking quite interesting for sure that the system is looking to potentially strengthen into, maybe a Cat 1 hurricane as it does make its way closer to the coast. So yeah, like I said, my voice is great, so again, you guys should be proud of me for that. And we will continue to keep you guys updated with the latest. So let's first go ahead and let's look at the hurricane track, okay? What changed with this is that look at this yellow color already starting to pop up, okay? That indicates a Category 1 hurricane. A Category 1 hurricane has 75-mile-per-hour winds sustained with gusts as high as 100. So that is a pretty destructive hurricane right there, as this will likely make its way right next to Perry in Florida. So it is definitely going to be a pretty hefty system to be, keeping an eye on as we continue to keep our eye on this the next few days. And of course, down here, we already are seeing a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings with this tropical storm, as you can see. So definitely looking, still a little bit on the hefty side of things. But we also do have, some tornado possible tags on some of these. So that is definitely going to bring the threat of maybe a few brief spin up tornadoes around. So definitely be on high alert if you do live in southern Florida. Let's see here. Avery Fuller says, "Hi there." Hi, Avery. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm really sorry about those other two streams, that I did. My mic wasn't really working right, but I finally got it to work now, so, I had to do a lot of research to figure it out, but I finally was getting my mic, to finish, so, I am very proud of myself, so you guys should start enjoying my streams now that I got my mic fixed. But, like I said, this is definitely going to be quite an emergency if this does choose to strengthen into a Category 1 hurricane, as you can see. So, by the time it reaches near Perry, likely to strengthen up to 75-mile-per-hour wind gusts, which is, likely to bring the threat, of some flash flooding across that area. Let's see here. Avery said, it's okay, don't worry. Thank you, Avery, for telling me that. Like I said, I'm sorry about, my other stream, but, I really do appreciate you telling me that. That is very, nice of you. But like I said, I finally fixed my mic and I am still very proud of myself. But let's look at the severe thunderstorm warnings up here to the north, and as you can see, we do have quite a bit in effect for Delaware and as well as parts of eastern Maryland. So as you guys can see, penny-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds are going to be a possibility with both of these storms, one in Delaware and another one in eastern Maryland. Back up here towards Minnesota, we got quite a bit of severe thunderstorm warnings too, as well, as you can see. So some of them are producing as high as 3-inch hail, which has actually been observed. That is crazy. 3-inch hail is literally the size of a baseball, if why not bigger than that. So 3-inch hail is definitely life-threatening threatening. So make sure to be indoors, away from windows, and I would probably say be on your safest place possible, because 3-inch hail here in Minnesota, that does include places like let's see, let's zoom in so we can find some more, but it pretty much includes places like Philbrook in Minnesota. So, those areas are going to have the risk for 3-inch hail, like I said, which again is just light threatening. So, if you do live in that warning, I do recommend going to your safe spot, as this could cause some major damage. So, it's definitely not really looking like a great place to be outside. Let's see here. Avery says, do you think Bellettville, Michigan, will be any remains of the storm like Beryl? That's a really good question. So if we take a look at that hurricane track, this system looks to be, going off the coast and pretty much heading into South Carolina. So you'll be pretty far away from it. A few thunderstorms might fly off it as it heads to the north, but this system mainly looks to be impacting the coastal areas and as well as the Atlantic Ocean. So it's pretty much just going to be impacting the coastal states like Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, maybe even as far north as Virginia. But it doesn't really look like this system is going to make it that far north. So I probably wouldn't really say that that's really going to happen, but we could very well see some flare-offs of storms with this. So nothing much, Avery, to worry about with that system. Like I said, it's mainly expected to impact these coastal areas from Georgia all the way through Virginia. So you don't really need to worry about that too much, as a system will likely stay near the coast. So you are fine. But again, with these thunderstorms up here, again, some pretty big hail up to 2 inches in diameter are still possible. So, as you can see, they did downgrade the hail a little bit. But, we could still very well, be seeing some pretty large hail with that system. So that is still going to be a storm we do need to be watching for. Storms over here towards eastern Maryland and as well as Delaware, we do have some storms. We are still watching for some 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds across these areas right here, as you can see. So yeah, definitely going to be an area to still be watching closely. And then I know we haven't talked about this, but the reason why is because these aren't really impacting anyone. These are just, some hurricanes out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. As you can see, these tracks don't even hit anything. So that's kind of the reason why meteorologists haven't really been talking about this. And that's the reason why we are mainly focusing on this area. Let's see here. Avery says, okay, I'm sorry. I have had very bad storm. So that's fine, Avery. Avery, you don't need to apologize about that. You are fine. You are perfectly fine. But yeah, so, like I said, Avery, you might get a few remains of the thunderstorms, but like I said, this is mainly impacting the coastal area, so again, you'll be fine. There's nothing much to worry about. But I can see, how you had a very bad storm with Beryl, though, as it moved through Michigan, so like I said, nothing too much to worry about with that system again, Avery. You will be fine. But down here towards southern Florida, as you can see, got a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for parts of Miami, Florida, for 60-mile-per-hour winds and as well as penny-size hail, as you can see. So it's definitely looking like an area to still be watching for, as we do have some warnings still in effect. Back over here into North Carolina, which, we did have some severe thunderstorms earlier today across the Raleigh area, but those are finally heading out. We might get some more with this back end line of storms, but we'll have to see about that. That really just remains uncertain by this point. So, we'll need to be watching for something like that. But like I said, that does remain uncertain on if this line of storms is really going to be doing that. Let's see. Avery says, okay, good, Avery. I'm glad. But yeah, so we are gonna continue to be watching. But let's look at the impacts. Okay, I forgot to pull up the National Hurricane Center website. And as you can see, tropical storm Debby is already around, and this is likely going to strengthen up to a Category 1 hurricane by the time it reaches the coast. Okay, as you can see, it's pretty much going to be turning into a Category 1 hurricane, and that's the reason why you're seeing those red colors right there. So it's definitely going to be an area to be on very high alert for, as we do have a hurricane warning currently in effect. Let's see here. I'm pretty sure I have PTSD, but I don't know. Really, really, Avery. I don't know if I have that one, but I get that though. But yeah, so like I said, this is expected to strengthen into a Category 1 hurricane, as you can see. So it's definitely going to be something to, really keep an eye on, like I said. And let's look at the total rainfall, okay? Total rainfall has changed a little bit, especially because it did upgrade to, a Category 1 hurricane. We might see a little bit more than what the National Weather Service is showing right now. But from what it's showing right now, it is certainly showing, that we could be seeing some rainfall totals between 12 and 16 inches of rainfall, which is quite a bit, by the way. So, along these coastal areas, like I said, Avery looked to be getting impacted the most, and that rain only goes as far west as Charlotte, North Carolina, where 2 to 4 inches of rain may be possible, but anywhere farther inland than Charlotte, it doesn't really look to be getting impacted. So again, mainly coastal areas looking to be seeing the highest impacts from the system, as they could very well be a threat. So we'll still be needing to be watching for that. But yeah, certainly going to be something to keep an eye on. Let's look at the storm surge now. Storm surge looking very concerning, as you can see. So concerning storm surge up to 7 feet is possible, which is crazy, by the way. 3 feet is just as crazy as 6 feet, because it's just how deep the water is. So if you do live anywhere along the coast of Florida, especially the western coast, make sure you are preparing for a potential storm surge event, as we could be seeing some storm surges as high as 7 feet, which again is just wild. 7 feet of storm surge is just the worst you could ever hope for. So please be prepared for that, as that potential will be there. And of course, we'll be live for Debby as she starts making some hurricane impacts there. So if you do live in Florida, don't forget to click that notification bell so you guys are notified whenever I do go live for Debby again. But for the flood potential, as you can see, flood potential is definitely quite high, as we have at least a 40% chance of flash flooding. So pretty much in between a 40 and a 60% chance of flash flooding is what we have across the coastal areas of Georgia, heading into South Carolina, and as well as the panhandle of Florida. We could actually have a high risk for flash flooding somewhere in here, and the reason why is because a high risk for flash flooding means areas that don't usually see flooding could very well see some. And usually when you're seeing over a foot of rain, which is going to be possible in some areas, especially along the coast of South Carolina and Georgia, that really brings a huge threat for areas that don't usually experience flash flooding. Very well could. So that's definitely going to be something to keep an eye on, as a rare high risk for flash flooding somewhere in this area. So we'll need to be keeping an eye out for that. Now something else we need to take a look at is that tropical storm force wind probability. Okay, and as you guys can see, tropical storm force wind probability is already pretty high, as you can see. So as you can see, pretty high across parts of Florida. So you got about a 70 to 80% chance of seeing some tropical storm force winds. So definitely looking like you at least need to be on high alert for that. But for the hurricane force wind probabilities, as you can see, we could be seeing some hurricane force winds, because you got at least a 10% chance of seeing that. Let's see here. I just hope we don't see any tornadoes up here. I hope we don't see tornadoes up here either. But most of the severe weather looks to be staying down to the south, though, especially with this system. But something that I do want to show you, by the way, is that there is a marginal risk for severe weather across the upper Ohio Valley and northern Great Lakes. But there's no tornado threat, though. At least no tornado threat is expected. So like I said, I hope we don't see any of that either up there. But it's something that isn't really expected anyway, so we probably won't really have to worry about that. But we might see some isolated severe thunderstorms producing some large hail and damaging winds in some areas by the time we head into Monday. So, might want to start being on high alert by the time we head into Monday, but not on very high alert though, especially because, marginal risk is, kind of just a minor risk. It doesn't really mean much, but still, theoretically possible that we might see a severe thunderstorm warning or two. So, no tornadoes to worry about, but some damaging winds and large hail can't be rolled out as we do head into Monday. So that's just something to be aware about. But back to the radar again, like I said, this is really gonna be, a life-threatening storm across these areas. Let's see. Avery says, okay, I can relax. Of course, like I said, we aren't expecting any tornadoes, so, you will be just fine. But, like I said, we are even keeping an eye out on these storms up here in Minnesota, as you can see. So, some quarter-size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds with that storm, but even some larger hail up to 2 inches will be possible across parts, in Minnesota too as well. So, that storm is still staying pretty strong. So, it's definitely going to be a storm we still need to keep an eye on there in Minnesota. Back towards the East Coast, we do have some warnings to, still be thinking about, as this could very well, be something to keep an eye on. So yeah, definitely some 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds possible in some areas, and just to the south of that, we got a new warning for some penny-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Let's see here. Mr. Storm says, hey, Mr. Storm, I saw you joining my other live streams, but I am very sorry about my mic wasn't working very well, and I actually told you that on your last community post. So again, Mr. Storm, I'm very sorry about that, but I'm glad you were able to join again. I really do appreciate that. So yeah, I really do appreciate that. Let's see here. Which way are the storms going in Minnesota? The storms in Minnesota are pretty much moving southeast. So pretty much how these warnings are being shaped is how, those storms are moving. So they're pretty much moving southeast, as you can see. And that even says that. So it's pretty much moving east at 35 miles per hour. So east and southeast at 35 miles per hour. Let's see here. I got storms coming my way in Long Island. You sure do, Mr. Storm. You sure do, because we do already have some pretty big clusters of thunderstorms across parts of Long Island, unfortunately. So, those are going to be some storms to keep an eye on. Let's see here. Can you cover? Of course, I am covering this, Mr. Storm, because like I said, there are some pretty big clusters over here across parts of Long Island, as you can see. So, some thunder, lightning as of right now. Thankfully, nothing severe as of right now, but some of these, other storms behind it could start making their way into Long Island. But from what we know so far, just some thunder and heavy rain will be the main concern. So, nothing too severe, but, we could still be seeing some thunder and lightning in parts of Long Island. So, just be aware of that. But we do have some severe storms to be taking a look at farther down to the south, as you can see, so, we do have some areas seeing some 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts with some of the thunderstorms, as you can see. So places like Vine Island will definitely need to be keeping an eye out on the system, as this could very well, put some 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts around. So we'll need to be keeping an eye on that for sure. But yeah, so let's see. Sorry you have to see this all these comments of mine, Mr. Storm. Okay. I thought you were talking to me for a second, but you are fine. Avery, you are fine. You can keep chatting and asking questions if you want. That is just fine with me. But again, we are still keeping an eye out on some of these storms. Like I said, across parts of Long Island, like I said, just some heavy rain and lightning looks to be the main concern. But from what we know so far, it doesn't really look that concerning as of right now across parts of Long Island. And if we take a look at it again, nothing has really changed with those. But some heavy rain and lightning, like I said, could be possible. But let's go ahead and take a look at the National Hurricane Center again, because, like I said, we are watching very closely for some coastal impacts. We haven't actually took a look at the tornado threats yet, and I just want to show you guys that if you live in Florida, because as you guys can see, a 2% risk for tornadoes across the western part of Florida, and that's something to keep in mind because, we could be seeing some water spouts, and that's exactly why parts of it is at risk. So, definitely going to be something to keep an eye on across parts of western Florida. We even got, another 2% risk up here across parts of Minnesota. So we definitely got to, be watching those storms very closely for sure, as we could, very well be seeing some isolated brief tornadoes out of them. But yeah. And then if we look at tomorrow's threat, tomorrow, we're going to go ahead and scroll down so we can see tomorrow. We also do have that threat for a few tornadoes across parts of Florida, as you can see. So Florida is definitely going to be at risk for storms again, unfortunately, as we do head into tomorrow. We might see an embedded 5% risk for tornadoes somewhere in here, as you can see. So we definitely got to be watching for that, as this system could very well strengthen and produce, more in the way of isolated thunderstorms, bringing the threat for tornadoes. So, tropical storm Debby could very well, produce a lot of isolated tornadoes, and that's exactly why we have that in play. But a 5% risk for tornadoes is going to be possible, so that's just something we're going to keep an eye on. But let's go back to the radar again and check out some of these severe thunderstorm warnings. And as you guys can see, we do still have those continuing across parts of New Jersey and as well as Delaware, as you can see. So definitely gonna still be something to keep an eye on. Let's see here. Does Northwest Georgia have to worry about hurricanes ever? Northwest Georgia might get impacted by a hurricane in the future. And I mean, you guys might end up seeing some, isolated showers and thunderstorms from the system because, this is pretty much just going to be to your east, okay? Just to your east. So you will be close to it, but you won't be close enough to see any, hefty impact. So you'll be fine, but some isolated showers and thunderstorms may be possible from this tropical storm starting to move into South Carolina by the time we do head into Thursday of next week. So this is definitely going to be something to keep an eye on. But, like I said, you might see a hurricane in the future, as that does appear possible because, tropics are starting to get more active each year. And, we start to, worry about tropics more about, every single year because of how, much those water temperatures have been and, all that stuff. So it's definitely quite a bit of information that tells us that we could very well be seeing more hurricanes in the future, which does put, areas like Georgia at risk. So, yeah, something to really be keeping an eye on. But like I said, at least expecting a Category 1 hurricane to move through parts of the panhandle of Florida, pretty much just to the west of Perry, as you can see. So Perry, Florida definitely looks to be at the highest risk. So we will need to be watching, very closely for something like that to happen. But I will be right back. I need to get a drink real quick. All right. I am finally back now. And let's see here. Avery says, I can't wait till it gets colder outside. I'm tired of summer, this heat and storms. Of course, I am tired of it too. I do not like seeing high humidity values around 70%, which is what causes, the feel like temperature to be much higher than what it actually is. So, that's definitely, pretty miserable out there when, the humidity is really high. So, yeah, of course, I am very tired of these heat and storms. I wish it would cool down also. I would rather have 60s and 70s in my area. So, I absolutely agree with you, Avery. Good thing to tell me. But like I said, we are still continuing to be watching these storms pretty closely. And let's actually go ahead and update our warnings. So let's go ahead and go to here, and we gotta go ahead and update our warnings, which have gone down a little bit. We got about 10 warnings in effect, so we're gonna say that. But let's go ahead, and look over here out west. And as you guys can see, we do have some storms out here to the west as well. One in the Panhandle, Texas, with some penny-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds, and then some more down here in parts of southern Arizona. Let's see here. Makes me feel like I'm going to pass out every time. Exactly. Again, that's exactly the way I feel whenever we get these heat storms. Is I'm just like, wow, it's already too hot out here, and people just want to stay indoors because of that. Of course, Avery, it's very miserable whenever we get things like that. So, yeah, I kind of do pass out too. And of course, I actually almost got into a heat stroke the other day when I was working really hard on helping clean out after the storms. And like I said, I'm also tired of the storms too. And, I ended up getting way too hot and sweaty. So, yeah. He is definitely one of the most miserable things during the summer, unfortunately. So, I would rather it go away too, like I said. But anyway, like I said, we are watching some storms out here to the west. This one, still some penny-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts across parts of Texas. And then, these storms up here in Minnesota still have the potential to produce some 2-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. And even the storm up a little bit north of that could even produce some hail as much as 2 inches in diameter, but more than likely going to stay under that, as an 1.25-inch size hail will be possible, which is about $half size. So definitely going to be something to keep an eye on. Let's see here. Avery says, oh my god, glad you're okay though. Of course, I know it was pretty scary when I was really, working hard outside, getting way too sweaty, So yeah, I do appreciate that I am okay after that. That sure was a lot of work to do. But yeah, like I said, we also still are watching these other storms. If we check on the ones over here in Virginia and North Carolina, nothing severe as of right now, thankfully. But, we definitely gotta still be watching for some gusty winds, small hail possible. Back to the storms on Long Island, Mr. Storm, if you're still around. We don't have much in the way of thunderstorms. Like I said, we do have some heavy rain and lightning, but nothing severe, though, like I said. So you're still on the good side. So just some heavy rain and some lightning still looking to be the main concern over there. Back over here towards Arizona, as you can see, Arizona definitely still needs to be paying attention, as we do have some storms capable of producing some 1-inch hail and some 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts in some areas, so that is gonna still be something to keep an eye on right there. And even over here out to the north, again, these thunderstorms could very well produce some hail as high as 2 inches in diameter, so still gonna be some storms that we also do need to be keeping an eye on as well. But let's go ahead and check in on the National Hurricane Center. And as you guys can see, again, we are really expecting those rainfall totals to be, going up pretty good. So we definitely gotta, be watching very closely for the potential of some major flooding in some areas. And that's exactly what we are paying attention to. And then over here for the storm surge watches and warnings, as you can see, we do have some storm surge warnings in effect for the coastal areas. Like I said, if you do live anywhere along the coast, you are also going to have the potential for a storm surge event, which can just be as bad as, a foot of rainfall. So make sure to really be paying attention to the storm surge, as we could really be seeing, several feet of water in some areas. So that's not going to be a fun thing to do. But if we also look at what the timing is, okay, we haven't looked at the timing yet. But as you can see, we do expect the system to start impacting Florida by the time we do head into Sunday. And then on Monday, thankfully, it does head off the coast, but then it will likely turn right back into South Carolina by the time we do head, into Friday. So yeah, definitely gonna be something to keep an eye on. But yeah, let's see here. Bring on the falling leaves. I am ready. I want fall to start, obviously, because it is cooler in the fall. Me and my dad were talking about going backpacking in the fall because it's a lot cooler that time of year, It's a lot cooler that time of year, and so, you can really be feeling some great weather during the fall, and, your grass grows better, too, as well. I just really wish it was fall by now, but it's not. We're still going to be dealing with heat, unfortunately, so, yeah. I wish the leaves would be falling too as well, because like I said, I would hope it would be fall by now for sure. But again, we are still keeping an eye on some of these thunderstorms, because like I said, over here out to the west, still keeping an eye out for some 60-mile-per-hour winds and 70 or 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail in some areas. We actually do have a flash flood threat for life-threatening flooding caused by thunderstorms pretty much just to the east of Custon in Arizona. So that is definitely going to be an area to be on high alert in, as we could be seeing some, pretty life-threatening flooding in that area. Back up here in Minnesota, a lot of those warnings have expired, so we're going to go ahead and update our warning again. So we're going to go ahead and change that to 7 warnings now. So now we don't have as many warnings as we did, but still, we definitely do need to still be watching very closely, for some warnings to increase. Let's see here. Avery says it's beautiful in the fall. Excited for winter too. We actually have been talking about winter, and I actually did do a winter forecast, by the way, which I know I did use a different map. But I actually figured out that I could, start using another map, and that's why you're seeing different thumbnails now. But back a few videos ago when I did do my winter forecast, we were really going over, what we can expect throughout the winter. So yeah, I'm excited for winter too. I think, the Great Lakes region and, Ohio Valley, places like that are gonna start seeing more in the way of above average snowfall this winter, because that's what's very typical with the La Nina, very typical La Nina winter brings above average snowfall and precipitation across the Northwest, and then all the way down through the Great Lakes and as well as the Ohio Valley and perhaps into the Northeast. So yeah, I would really rather, at least it be fall, but, I'm also am excited to see how winter plays out. Not necessarily because, I want it to be like so cold I can't really handle it, but more because, I just want to see how it really plays out. So yeah, we're definitely still, needing to be watching pretty closely for that. But let's, continue to go ahead and check these warnings once again. And as you can see, for parts of Long Island, still, got some thunderstorms around. Like I said, nothing severe, but we could still very well be seeing, quite a bit of some heavy rain and as well as some lightning. So yeah, it's definitely gonna be something that we still do need to be keeping an eye on, unfortunately. Let's see here. Avery says yes. Yes, I also say yes too. Absolutely agree with that. And yeah, so, we do need to still be keeping an eye on some of these storms. Let's look at the National Hurricane Center again. So let's go back to this other tab, and just want to I'm just showing you guys this throughout the video because this is the most concerning thing, So we still are needing to be watching the system pretty closely, as it will continue to head to the north, likely turning into a Cat 1 hurricane impacting Florida. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did see a high risk for flash flooding somewhere issued, like I said, pretty much across, Charleston, Savannah, Jacksonville. But, we could even be seeing that as far down south as Tallahassee, as we could very well be seeing, quite a bit of rainfall from the hurricane. So that is definitely going to also be one of the areas to be watching closely. But yeah, and if we go back and take a look at the radar again, as you guys can see, we actually do have, let's see, for a second I thought there was a warning in California, but there is actually a flash flood warning in effect, actually, where we actually did see, quite a bit of flooding. So, we actually do have some other areas to still be keeping an eye on as we kind of have some slow moving thunderstorms out here. But something else we haven't took a look at yet is the models. Okay, this is something a little bit different than what we have been taking a look at, but this is just to show you that there is the potential for the system to maybe take a slightly different path, but none of these paths even show the system going up to the north. This pretty much just shows it riding along the east coast. So it's definitely going to be something to keep an eye on still. But, like I said, the system is not going up to the north. So, that's good for us, but that's pretty bad for the coast. This could even, be going up all the way towards Long Island. Look at that. That could really be impacting Long Island, as all these models, at least most of them, want to show this pretty much continuing up the East Coast inland. So you guys along the East Coast as far north as Long Island might need to start paying a little bit more attention to the system, because I know the cone of uncertainty doesn't show that, but the cone of uncertainty only shows so far out. Let's see here. What's the different path? It's not a different path. This is what the National Hurricane Center is showing, because like I said, let's go ahead and go back so we can show you. Cause like I said, this could take a few different paths, But, like I said, from what the National Hurricane Center is showing is the path we mainly expect, okay? 'Cause like I said, this could very well, be riding up the East Coast, but this can't really, go farther out because if this line goes all the way up the East Coast, you know how uncertain that would be. That would be very uncertain, especially because the path would be, looking really far out, so... let's see. Oh, my fault. Misunderstood. Oh, you're fine, Avery. I get those, things a lot, in my live streams. You are perfectly fine, Avery. Not your fault. But, like I said, we are still keeping an eye on the system, which could, very well be riding up the East Coast. And that's something, to watch for with the cone of uncertainty, as this could, very well, start going up the East Coast as we continue to head closer, because this is the farthest it shows it. But, as we do head into the next few days, this will probably more than likely be somewhere in this area. So, we could be seeing, a tropical storm as far north as Virginia. So, we will at least need to be watching for Virginia, Maryland, maybe even New Jersey to get impacted from the storm. So, we'll need to be watching it very closely. Like I said, we'll need to be watching for, maybe a few different paths it could take, but the average path is pretty much going to be either along or pretty much up the East Coast. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on there. Let's look at the intensity model guidance, okay? This is what we could see. Like I said, this is expected to strengthen to a Category 1 hurricane, and, as you can see, some of the models do show that, but that's not what we always rely on, okay? What we also always rely on is if the waters are warm, because if they're warm, we will always be concerned about the storm intensifying, and that's exactly why we're concerned about a Category 1 hurricane, is because those water temperatures are really warm, there isn't as much wind shear around, and, there's also less, Saharan dust and things like that, which is definitely going to help this system, really grow in size, potentially turning into a Category 1 hurricane. So like I said, even though we don't have a good agreement on this turning into a Category 1 hurricane, this is still likely going to, okay, as we will likely see some rapid intensification somewhere along the coast. So that is going to be, one of the biggest concerns, as we do have some of the models showing that. But if we look back at the radar again, let's go ahead and take a look at the storms in Long Island again. So if we go ahead and take a look at these, let's go ahead and select the Maryland radar. As you can see, some severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for southern New Jersey for 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds looks to be the main concern for those areas. So, we definitely got to be still paying attention to these thunderstorms, like I said. So, we still got to be paying attention very closely. And then a little bit farther to the north, again, nothing really much impacting Long Island. There could be some showers and thunderstorms across some areas, but like I said, nothing severe, and maybe some heavy rain coming down. But other than that, nothing really much, thankfully. So, again, Mr. Storm, you will be okay. And then back over here towards Arizona, looks like we got a few new severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. And we got some 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds, which each of those storms. So that is going to be something to really be keeping an eye on, as those warnings are already there. So, something that we still do need to be keeping an eye on. And let's go ahead and check where those warnings are at. Okay. I see where those are, but yeah. And then we do, have some warnings still up here into parts of Minnesota for 3-inch hail, actually. 3-inch hail. Golly, that is some really large hail once again with that storm. 3-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That is a pretty strong storm, guys. Again, you should be indoors and away from windows if you live in, let's see, let's go ahead and zoom in and see what places are included in this one. But the biggest one is pretty much Long Prairie. I think that's how I say that, Long Prairie. So Long Prairie, Minnesota does certainly need to, be on high alert. And to be honest, you might already be seeing some very large hail as of right now. But that hail core that you see is still continuing to the east, getting ready to hit Pillsbury in Minnesota. So if you do live in that severe thunderstorm warning, make sure to be on high alert, and of course be paying attention to the system, as this could very well be dumping some 3-inch hail still, and as well as some 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So yeah, we'll definitely still need to be keeping an eye out for it. But let's go ahead and also look farther down here to the south again. And, again, we do have some severe thunderstorm warnings still in effect for parts of New Jersey, with the potential of some 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds with that storm. We also are still keeping an eye on Debby right now. It's a category, or it's a tropical storm, rather, with 40-mile-per-hour winds as of right now. So that definitely did strengthen quite a bit. But by the time we do head into tomorrow, right around the afternoon tomorrow, this tropical storm looks to be right up here, across, this area right here. There's nothing really, to be explaining, because it won't be over anything, but pretty much, let's say, off the coast of Tampa, because it pretty much lines up with that. This will likely be, a tropical storm with 50-mile-per-hour winds, and then it will continue rapidly intensifying by the time we do head into Monday, which will be after tomorrow, and then the time that it really becomes a hurricane will be during the afternoon on Monday, which will be an amazing time to do live coverage, because that's pretty much the middle of the day when no one's asleep. So yeah, we're really gonna try to be doing live coverage at that time, like I said. So again, if you do live in Florida, or if you are in the path of this tropical storm or hurricane, make sure to click that notification bell down below so you are notified when I do go live for this, so that way I can keep you guys safe from the system, like I said. So make sure to do that if you haven't already, because this is gonna be a pretty big deal, guys. This is gonna be a pretty big deal, so definitely get ready for it. And then if we go back down here towards Arizona again, as you guys can see, still some 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds with some of these storms. So yeah, we definitely are still needing to be watching down here in Arizona closely still. And yeah, so that's pretty much a lot of things to still be keeping an eye on there. And then if we go back over here towards the coast again, or starting to get a little bit shorter in those warnings, thankfully. And let's go ahead and check those warnings, by the way. Looks like we still got about 10 warnings, but I think we actually can still update that. I didn't realize I was actually that short, but we'll keep it there because there isn't that many warnings actually. So yeah, we definitely are still needing to be watching closely for some potential severe storms in some areas. So yeah. But if we also go ahead and take a look at what's happening across the Carolinas again, like I said, nothing severe, but we do have some heavy rainfall and lightning still ongoing still. So we'll still need to, be keeping an eye out for that. And if you guys do have any questions, comment, or concerns, feel free to leave them in the chat, and I do appreciate you asking me those questions, Avery. I really do appreciate that. But if anyone else has any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave them in the chat if you haven't already. But let's also look at a few other things too as well, which one of them does include those ocean temperatures, okay? And as you guys can see, those ocean temperatures sure are warming up. Look how warm those temperatures are already getting. So, you know, in the eastern Pacific, we were getting close to La Nina, but the reason why I said that is because look how much those temperatures have already gone back up. So, they pretty much have been going down, up, down, up, down, up, and now they're finally going up again. So, that's some pretty, you know, crazy dips and drops in water temperatures, but also some pretty big increases in water temperatures as well at the same time. So, yeah, pretty crazy water temperatures as you can see. But, yeah, and if we look at the Storm Prediction Center again, it doesn't look like the Storm Prediction Center has update yet, which the next one, which looks to be coming in about an hour, which will be the next Storm Prediction Center update. So we'll be taking a look at that by the time it heads out. Let's see here. What name do you go by? If you're talking about like what the name of the tropical storm or hurricane is, it's Debby. I go by Debby because that's what the actual name is of the tropical storm that is already around. But I don't really know what else you would mean than just that. But if I messed that up, you can let me know. But like I said, you know, we are saying Debby because that's the actual name of this tropical storm, which was put it in the Atlantic hurricane season names. But yeah, so you know, again, like I said, you know, we still are waiting for that Storm Prediction Center update to you know, come out pretty soon. So you know, we'll be taking a look at that pretty soon. But from, you know, what we know so far, we'll you meant my name? My name is Simeon. Simeon. But I do weather with Sim for short. So my actual name is Simeon, but my name on my channel is Sim. I do Sim for short, like I said. So that's what it is Simeon. So that's what you want to know. But let's also, you know, go ahead and take a look at a few other things. And again, you know, we still are watching some thunderstorms out here. It looks like we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning for parts of South Carolina for some penny-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. So you know, we definitely got to be watching that system very closely for the potential of some 60-mile-per-hour winds and, you know, some penny-sized hail. So we definitely got to be keeping an eye on that. But yeah, again, Avery, my name is Simeon, like I said, and let's see here. All right, I'll call you Sim. Sure, of course, you can call me that because that's exactly what I use for my channel. So yeah, you can call me Simeon or Sim. I do not mind either one, so feel free to leave either one that you want, but I am okay with Sim as well. But like I said, you know, we also are watching these thunderstorms over down here into Arizona, as you can see, for some 60-mile-per-hour winds and some quarter, you know, size hail around. So still gonna be keeping an eye on those ones. And over here towards Maine, look at that. We actually just got a severe thunderstorm warning in Maine. And Maine actually wasn't even in the forecast for any severe thunderstorm warning. And this is actually a pretty strong storm. It was 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind. So that is a pretty strong storm right there, unfortunately, across Maine, which again, you know, wasn't really in the forecast. And if we look at that Storm Prediction Center update, no, not at all. Maine isn't at risk for severe storms. So yeah, wasn't really in the forecast, but you know, we can still sometimes see those when they're not at risk because, you know, it really just depends. So yeah, we'll definitely still need to be keeping an eye out for those, you know, as we will continue to, you know, be watching closely. But yeah, you know, we still got a, you know, few severe thunderstorms to still be watching for too. And we still have a few other things to still be keeping an eye on. And so as you can see, still keeping an eye on the panhandle of Texas for potentially 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds across that area. So still keeping an eye out for that. And then we also still have those across parts of Arizona. But let's go ahead and take a look at the National Hurricane Center once again. And again, we could be seeing some 7 feet storm surge in some areas, pretty much between, let's say, Yankeetown and the Alcola River. And I think that's how you say that, Alcola River. So definitely an area to still be watching for, and that's pretty much exactly where that hurricane is likely to move through. So again, be prepared for some 7-foot storm surge, as this will likely be something that we do need to be keeping an eye on. But yeah, and then if we go ahead and also look at those watches and warnings, again, we are still keeping an eye out for some potential hurricane impacts. So those red colors that you see indicate a hurricane warning, as you can see. So that is definitely something to keep an eye on there. And then the past track, as you can see, pretty much showed it going pretty much off the coast of Cuba, as you can see, and then pretty much heading to the north. So yeah, definitely areas to still be keeping an eye on for sure, as that could very well impact these areas up here. So still going to be watching for something like that to happen. And then if we also go ahead and take a look at the rainfall totals again, again, we could be seeing some rainfall totals between 6 and as well as 8 inches of rainfall, pretty much in that light orange color. But the area that we're most concerned about is pretty much Charleston down to Savannah and perhaps Jacksonville getting the potential for 12 to 16 inches of rainfall. But even extreme coastal Georgia could be seen as much as 20 inches of rain. That is a lot of rainfall, like I said, guys. That is a lot of rainfall to really be, paying attention to, and as well as to be aware about. So if you do live, in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, be on high alert, guys. That is definitely going to be something that we still do need to, be keeping an eye on, as that could very well, be impacting areas along the coast. But, if we go back to the radar, still, watching some of these areas pretty closely. We haven't really been checking on the system yet. But yeah, again, some pretty widespread showers and thunderstorms across parts of Florida and Cuba. And again, this likely is to head to the north, bringing some potential hurricane impacts, especially due to potential rapid intensification that could occur pretty much off the coast of Florida. So we'll be watching for that. The thunderstorms up here to the north near Long Island still aren't severe, but we could still be, be seeing the potential for, some severe thunderstorms across Long Island. Like I said, nothing severe, and I probably wouldn't really expect anything severe, especially because nothing has been severe yet. But, we could still very well be seeing, some stronger thunderstorms, which we actually do have a special marine warning in effect for some 34-mile-per-hour wind gusts and small hail pretty much across the end of Long Island. Let's see here. Avery says, thank you for interacting with me. I feel more at ease. You're welcome, Avery. I really do appreciate you joining my live stream today. That is really appreciated, and I'm glad you were able to make it, even though my microphone didn't sound very good in the last few streams, like I said. So I am very glad you were able to make it to this one, and I'm very glad you have been answering questions and chatting with me. That is very well appreciated, my friend. But yeah. So yeah, definitely still watching some of these thunderstorms still closely. And we still need to be keeping an eye on down here for southern Florida for still the potential of some impacts. And so, we still need to be keeping an eye on for these areas. Which parts, of Miami, look at that, Miami included in a potential water spout. As you can see, potential water spout around Miami could be possible. But I'm going to go ahead and get another drink, especially so that my voice sounds a little bit better. Let's see here. Avery says, looks like you put a happy face on there again. Avery, you're very welcome. And again, I'm really glad you did join my live stream. That is very well appreciated. But yeah, so we still need to be watching some of these other storms still pretty closely. Still got one up in Minnesota still to be keeping an eye on, as we still could be seeing some 3-inch hail at the max, but it looks like that did downgrade to 2-inch hail, and even some 60-mile-per-hour winds still look to be a concern. But even down here in Arizona, if we go ahead and take a look at this again, look at that, some penny-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds will be possible across parts of Arizona. So we'll still need to be watching those areas pretty closely for that potential. We actually do have a flash flood warning in effect for parts of Utah because we actually do have a slow-moving thunderstorm across that area. And that's because we saw about 1.5 inches of rain in that area, so pretty unfortunate for areas out to the west, as we will start to continue to see that potential for some isolated flooding. So still keeping an eye out for that. And then if we also go ahead and take a look down here towards Louisiana, we do have some showers and thunderstorms around still, which have, produced, about 1 to 2 inches, of rainfall. So, still got other areas to still be watching for besides, Florida and along the East Coast. And it looks like we don't have as many warnings as we did. So let's go ahead and check that again. Yeah. Yeah, so, we don't really have a lot of areas to really, be going over, but, we still are going to be live, keeping you guys safe in some areas because, we still could very well be seeing, Debby strengthen a little bit. We're going to be live for that. Let's see. Avery says, do you know who Weather on the Go is? I absolutely do. I watch his channel every single day to get a lot of weather information. So yes, I really do know who he is, of course. And I even subscribe to his YouTube channel, by the way. So yes, I do really know who he is. And I even know who other meteorologists are. Like I know Ryan Hall. I know Mr. Storm. I subscribe to his channel, by the way. I also know Max Velocity. I also know Fox Weather. I know all those YouTube channels, even Direct Weather, even meteorologist Travis Roberts, or Travis Roberts, rather. So Travis Roberts is another one who I know. I even know Direct Weather. So I know, like I said, I know all those people, and I even know a lot more than that. So yeah, of course, I really do know him for sure, Avery. And thanks for asking me that, by the way. I really do appreciate it. But Like I said, still watching some areas out here to the west for some, penny-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. In some areas, especially down here in Arizona, where we still do have some potential for some 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And then, back over here towards New Jersey, we actually do have another going louder one that's gonna be, something to keep an eye on right here for some penny-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Let's see here. Hunter told me there's not much going around here for the next 1 to 2 weeks. Oh yeah, it's really expected to be dry and hot up here to the north. Pretty much along the Ohio Valley and farther to the north, we're going to be staying drier, and we are going to be seeing less in the way of precipitation, and we're also going to be seeing more in the way of heat. So yeah, sure going to be hot and dry. So yeah, you are exactly right about that, Avery. You are right about us being on the drier side, and nothing really much going on for these areas up to the north. Let's see here. Avery says aka weather on the go. Exactly, Avery. Hooray for weather on the go. But even over here into Minnesota, still got some warnings to still be thinking about, as we still could be seeing some 2-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts across some areas, pretty much heading right towards St. Cloud in Minnesota. So that is still going to be an area to be, watching really closely as it's still around. Let's see here. Avery says, yes, all I want to do is live in peace again. Hooray, Avery, thanks for saying that. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, of course, I also want to, be doing live coverage for you guys, because it really does keep you guys safe, and of course, it's very important to save people's lives, and that's exactly why me and other meteorologists do that, so that way we can save your guys' lives, and we can really keep you guys updated on the weather. So we really do want to keep you guys safe. So yeah, we will definitely continue to do so. But again, we still keep an eye on some thunderstorms. We still got some across parts of Virginia, as you can see. One pretty much to the south of Lynchburg, and then another one right here, pretty much to the west of Lynchburg. So still keeping an eye on those areas in Virginia. And then we even got one here in North Carolina still for some flash flooding. It's just radar indicated, but some flash flooding is still ongoing across that area. We still gotta be keeping an eye on these storms too, as well, obviously, as we could still be seeing some 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds across some of this area. So still gotta be keeping an eye out for northern South Carolina too, as well. So yeah, we are still keeping an eye on those areas for sure. And then back south of Lake Charles, Louisiana, we got a special marine warning in effect for some 35-mile-per-hour winds. Let's see here. Starva 76 says, "Hey man, keep up the good work. I didn't even know that hurricane exists. I don't live near it, but one of my friends do." I see. And I wasn't really sure if I really said your name right, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it is starve of so I'm pretty sure I said that right though. But yeah, hurricane is really expected for sure. Let's see here. Avery says, after Monday and Tuesday's thunderstorms, I think I'm going to take a break from watching the weather. It's stressed me out every time I heard about severe weather. Yeah, whenever I hear about severe weather too, it sure does stresses me out as well, because I'm like, is this really gonna happen? It can be scary, but because I'm a meteorologist, I'm not really scared about severe storms. But yeah, I sometimes do feel the same way about severe weather as well. It sure can happen. And yeah, still watching some other thunderstorms out here to the northeast, across parts of Long Island, and as well as New Jersey, especially, as we could still be seeing, some 60-mile-per-hour winds, and as well as some quarter-size hail. But let's see here. Avery says, for the sake of my mental health. Really? Really? Doesn't really do that to me, but yeah. I can get how, severe weather can kind of, ruin people's health a little bit because of how scared they are. I don't know if that's really true, but yeah, I get what you're saying, though. I get what you're saying. But anyway, like I said, still seeing some other storms to still keep an eye on. One still across parts of Minnesota, still heading towards St. Cloud. Got another one up here, just to the east of this one, which is just south of Little Falls, producing some 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds in that area still. And then, back down here towards Arizona, still got some 60-mile-per-hour winds and at penny-size hail with some of those other storms. And then back over here towards South Carolina, we still are watching, some of these storms closely for the potential of some flooding and as well as some severe thunderstorms. So yeah, still need to be watching, this closely still. But yeah. But we are also still watching, Virginia too as well. Obviously, Virginia, you guys could, still be seeing quite a bit of rainfall, as we do have a threat for flash flooding still. So, still are watching very closely too as well. So yeah. But yeah, still keep an eye on the weather a little bit, as we still have some rains in effect. I can tell it has, calmed down quite a bit, but, definitely not as concerning as it was earlier today when we did have a lot more warnings than just that in effect. But yeah, like I said, it's coming down a little bit, thankfully, but, we still got to be watching, closely for Debby, especially, as we could be seeing some rainfall totals between 12 and 16 inches pretty much off the coast of South Carolina and as well as Georgia too as well. So both of those areas could very well, be seeing some pretty big rainfall totals like that. So we'll need to be watching closely. And yeah, so we have been, talking about a lot of this stuff still. Like I said, still gonna continue to be live. We might be live for about another hour or so. So that's because, we still gotta cover some of these severe thunderstorms still. And, we still are watching for the potential of Debby still strengthening into the Cat 1 hurricane category. So we still are watching very closely for that to happen by the time we do head into next week, which will be after tomorrow. But, even up here towards Long Island, again, we do have some thunderstorms still in effect. Still got that special marine warning in effect as well. And it looks like we could, still be seeing some 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-size hail with some of these storms that you see. So, still going to be keeping an eye out for that. And then, even some areas over here in Virginia, as you can see, still got some flash flooding ongoing, but over here into places like Arizona, we still do have some severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, and that's because we could be seeing, some 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds with some of these storms, as you can see. So we will still be keeping an eye out for those, and then, we also are still keeping an eye out for some of these other storms as well. So, we still gotta be, watching very closely. I'm gonna raise my chair up just a little bit. But yeah, we still are watching closely for the potential of that to happen. So, if you definitely, still continue to be on high alert along the Florida coast, as we could still be seeing, some potential impacts. And, still, watching down here towards southern Florida, which we actually do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. Thankfully, no possible tide, or thankfully, no tornado possible tide. But, we still do need to be watching, this area closely, pretty much just south of downtown Miami, or just north of Miami, but still included in Miami, including Fort Lauderdale, does need to, be paying attention to the storm. But, even a little bit far to the north, we might still have some, thunderstorms around, but, obviously nothing severe a little bit farther to the north in Florida. So we still gotta, be keeping an eye out for that. And, still gotta be keeping an eye on the Carolinas too as well. And as you can see, the Carolinas, we still do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for areas just to the north of Spartansburg and parts of South Carolina. And then we also, still are watching, some other areas too as well. And I'm sorry about that. Gotta go back to where I was before. But, still are watching, some of these other areas as well, too as well. So we definitely gotta be, still be paying attention to as well. So, yeah. And then, we also are watching, Minnesota still too as well, as you can see. So Minnesota definitely still needs to, be paying attention to some of these thunderstorms, as we could be seeing, some 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds, if why not 2-inch hail, actually. And this one's actually ready to start impacting St. Cloud pretty soon. So St. Cloud, you better be ready for some 60-mile-per-hour winds and some 1-inch hail at least, maybe a little bit larger hail than that. So definitely still got to be watching closely for potentially some very large hail around. But if we also go ahead and take a look at these flash flood warnings, which we do actually have one just to the west or east of Las Vegas, and as you can see, this one to the east of Las Vegas, we do have a flash flood warning in effect, and that's because, we already saw a lot of heavy rainfall here, and, that's really causing some life-threatening flooding, unfortunately. But, they could really use rainfall, though, because even though it does cause flooding, these areas could still really be using the rainfall, especially because, they're dry. When you're dry, you need rain, of course. So, even though they haven't been seen rainfall, and even though that's something pretty typical in this area, we could always, use rainfall in these dry areas for sure, because, we just need it when we could use it. And then over here to the east again, as you guys can see, still keeping an eye out for parts of New Jersey still. And that's, certainly because we still do have the potential for some 60-mile-per-hour winds and some penny-sized hail, and this actually did upgrade to 70-mile-per-hour winds, by the way, so this is actually looking like a heavier thunderstorm now, unfortunately, so definitely not looking good for those areas. And then we also do have, some warnings still coming down towards St. Cloud in Minnesota still. So we are still, watching those areas as well, too as well. So still gotta be paying attention to those areas too as well. So yeah, let's go back and do another update on the National Hurricane Center, and the Storm Prediction Center update should be in just a second. So that way we can refresh it. We're gonna go ahead and close that tab, and we're going to go ahead and pull up the Storm Prediction Center outlook. And I thought it actually came out because they're supposed to come out about now, but we might have to wait just a little bit longer for it to come out. So, yeah, let's see here. Avery says heavier thunderstorms where? Coastlines? Yeah, the coastlines of New Jersey, like I said, because, heavier thunderstorms pretty much along New Jersey, like I said, and I actually did say that, by the way. So heavier thunderstorms in New Jersey, like it said, producing 70-mile-per-hour winds. That's the reason why, is because, they did strengthen, which in general, they're actually stronger thunderstorms, but you can also call them heavier thunderstorms because, that just means they strengthened a lot, and, they are really, producing a lot of heavy rainfall, gusty winds, and lightning. But this one is really, dangerous, as it is producing some 70-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail. So it is a really, strong and heavy thunderstorm. So you guys in New Jersey, pretty much along the coastal areas of Atlantic City, all the way up here towards Medford, and, some other areas too as well, definitely should be indoors and away from windows. Let's see here. OMG, oh my god. Yeah, of course. Oh my god. This is a really strong thunderstorm, of course, Avery. Really strong thunderstorm across parts of the coastal areas. So, yeah. Oh my god, that sure is a strong storm for sure. And then, still, oh my god, these storms up here are still very strong as well, with some 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. So, still keeping an eye out for those ones. And, even over here towards New Jersey again, we actually haven't looked at the radar yet, but yeah, that's a really strong thunderstorm, because as you can see, pretty much shaping like a line right there, pretty much moving up to the north. So, these areas up to the north, like New York, might need to start paying attention to this, unfortunately, especially if it's able to strengthen as it continues up to the north. So, this is not looking good for you guys in New York, or at least areas by there. So, you guys should definitely be on high alert, as this thing is moving up to the north at 45 miles per hour. That's a pretty fast thunderstorm too as well. 45 miles per hour is just as fast as a car. So you should definitely get ready by now if you live in New York, because this could very well be something that could very well start impacting you guys. And then, areas over here towards Texas still got a thunderstorm in effect for some penny-sized hail, and as well as some 60-mile-per-hour winds. Let's see. New York City could get hit too. Oh yeah, New York City does need to be paying attention to the system for sure. Like I said, it is heading pretty much up to the north, and so New York City does need to be on high alert for that, because the system is moving up to the north, like I said, producing 70-mile-per-hour winds. You know how dangerous that is. That can really cause a lot of damage. So we'll have to see if this storm really continues to stay strong as it continues up to the north. But like I said, you guys in New Jersey should be on high alert by now. But I'm gonna go ahead and get another drink. So I will be right back. All right. So yeah, I'm finally back again now. Just took a quick drink. And let's see here. Avery says, I very much do. I've seen stuff like that here too. Bad memories. Oh yeah. I also seen things like that as well. And to be honest, about a few days ago from now, we actually saw a storm move through our area, producing some really high winds. We actually saw some 80-mile-per-hour winds in our area, so we were very lucky. We didn't really see a whole lot of damage, but yeah, those storms are definitely scary for us too as well, especially when they're producing, some very extreme winds of around 70 plus miles per hour, which is considerable, by the way. So that's definitely not very fun when you get storms that strong. But it looks like we just got a new tornado warning in effect. Let me quickly go ahead and change my title. Tornado warning in Minnesota. Okay, so there we go. Tornado warning in Minnesota. And now we're going to go ahead and go to OBS. And we're going to go ahead and go to tornado warnings. And we got one tornado warning in effect, unfortunately. So that's definitely bad news for them. So it looks like we just got a new tornado warning in effect for parts of Minnesota. This is a tornado in 1-inch hail. If we go ahead and select a radar, if we go ahead and select some rotation on this, so let's go ahead and select velocity. Yeah, we actually do have a decent little area of rotation, so we definitely got to be watching pretty much this area right here. So we do have a decent little area of rotation to be keeping an eye on right here, as you can see. So a little bit of rotation, but still pretty broad. So we got to be watching those people very closely, and that's exactly why I'm still going to be alive, is to still cover these thunderstorms, which are still likely to, be on severe side. And yeah, I absolutely do pray for those people too, as well as those people could very well get impacted from this. But we don't really expect, a derecho, Avery. I know it kind of seems like that, but no, it's not a derecho. It's more just, some clusters of thunderstorms being on the severe side of things. So, like I said, not a derecho, but still gonna be something to keep an eye on, though. And yeah, so still, keeping an eye out for that tornado warning right there. And let's see if we gotta change our severe thunderstorm warnings. It sounds like we got 9, so we're gonna go ahead and go here, and we're going to go ahead and change it to 9, which we probably should have done when we were, looking at them. So we're gonna go ahead and go to 9. Okay, so there we go. We got 9 severe thunderstorm warnings still in effect currently. So, we are still watching, these areas very closely. So, again, we still got a little area of rotation to still keep an eye on up here towards parts of Minnesota. Again, in that area right here, we still got a little area of rotation. So, we still got to be, on high alert for the system. If you live in Melrose, which this couple is probably already over you, so you should probably be indoors right now. And then this is pretty much getting ready to head towards St. Marion, and as well as New Munch in Minnesota. So those areas need to be on high alert. Let's see here. That derecho coming from the west to hit neck of the woods of Michigan really had to freak me out that night. What derecho are you talking about? Because there has been some that have came from the west and moved into Michigan. So there has been a few that did that. So yeah, you actually are right about that there has been some coming from the west and impacting Michigan, but there has been so many of those impacting Michigan. I'm not really sure which one you're really talking about. Let's see, the one a couple weeks ago. Really, that one actually did impact Michigan a little bit. It actually impacted more of the Chicago area, though. Chicago saw more in the way of tornadoes. And that's where the strongest part of the derecho was. But you are right, Michigan did get impacted a little bit from that derecho, which I wasn't able to go live, unfortunately, because we are busy some of these days. But we are live today, though, so at least we get to cover more than just one thing. So yeah, you are right. There has been some damage from that derecho a few weeks ago, and yeah, derechos can also be scary for sure. They are sure one of the worst lines of storms that can hit some areas. So still, needing to be watching some of these areas very closely. And we still got velocity selected. It sounds like this rotation is now a little bit stronger. Okay, we actually got a little bit stronger area of rotation, and thankfully it's not on the ground yet. We can actually go ahead and quickly check the correlation coefficient, and yeah, no immediate debris ball yet, but like I said, that area of rotation sure did strengthen. So you guys in the path of this area of rotation, so places like Spring Hill, you guys need to be gaining your safe spot. Lake Henry and in Minnesota, you guys also need to be gaining your safe spot. St. Marion, you guys also need to be gaining your safe spot. So if you do live in those areas in Minnesota, you guys better be getting into your safe spots. Like I said, this area of rotation did strengthen quite a bit, so definitely get ready for that. Let's see here. Avery says, I went to my grandma's to take shelter that night and hid in her basement when it got me. Really? I definitely get how, you can sometimes, go to other people's houses to take shelter if you need to, which, sometimes can happen because, you're outside and you're like, where do I take shelter? And, try to get permission to take shelter in the building closest to you so that way you're safe, which, most buildings should let you. So yeah, I absolutely get how, taking shelter at another house would definitely be, a decent idea, especially when, you're outside or, there's something like that, going on. So yeah, that's a good idea, especially when things like that are going on. But again, still got a pretty decent area of some rotation across that area. And if we look at, it's still radar indicated, so nothing observed yet. But let's look at the debris ball again, and as you can see, no immediate debris ball yet, which is good. So that's at least better than a debris ball. So we still gotta be watching that closely, but that sure is strengthening quite a bit. Let's see here. Avery says, I live in a trailer, so I don't have a basement. Yeah, again, it really makes sense to, try to, take shelter in a basement, whenever you're outside, or you're in a mobile home, which I actually forgot to point out, by the way. So, usually when you're in a mobile home, you actually want to try to, take shelter somewhere else, because mobile homes are just as dangerous as staying, in a car, because, they aren't that strong and, they don't protect you very well. So yeah, like I said, it's a really good idea to take shelter in basements when you live in something that isn't very strong and, something that doesn't really have a whole lot to do. So yeah, definitely a good idea to take shelter in a basement, Avery. I'm really glad you did that, because again, it's really good to do that whenever you are in a weak home that isn't really built that strong. But if we look at the velocity again, still got a little area of rotation, a little bit on the weaker side, but still enough rotation to still concern me a little bit. And if we look at the correlation coefficient, no me at debris ball, thankfully, so we're still good. But, still, gotta be keeping an eye on this storm, as this could very well start rotating more rapidly. And not only is this producing a tornado, but this could even produce some large hail as well. So we'll need to be watching for both. But looks like we just got another tornado warning. We're gonna go ahead and update our tornado warnings again. So we're gonna go ahead and go to tornado warnings. So we got 2 tornado warnings already in effect. So as you can see, one across St. Cloud. So if you live across St. Cloud, be in your safe spots now. Okay, this is not what you expected. So please get to your safe spots now. Okay, this is not something to be outside. So if you do live in St. Cloud, please get in your safe spots. And if we go ahead and check the rotation, and go ahead and check the velocity. As you can see, not really seeing much in the way of rotation, because as you can see, those reds catching the greens are pretty weak. But you know, they are touching each other, so that could indicate a brief spin up tornado potential. I'm still a little bit more concerned about this area over here, as we still do have some decent areas of rotation, so we're still keeping an eye on that area too as well. So again, if you do live in St. Cloud, make sure to be indoors and go to your safe spot, which is a basement or the most interior room on the lowest floor possible. But even clear lake and clear water, you guys are in the path of the system, so make sure to be in your safe spots right now before that gets to you. Let's see here. Avery says, I sat there and cried the entire time while watching the radar on Michigan Storm Chasers live streams. Yeah, you know, it can very well be scary sometimes, like I said. You know, whenever you get in a tornado warning or something like that, it can really be scary for sure. So, you know, it's just something that a lot of people don't really like a lot. But we're going to go ahead and continue watching these storms pretty closely, like I said, you know, because we still got some pretty big areas of rotation up there in Minnesota to watch for. And let's go ahead and update my title to tornado warnings in Minnesota. So there we go. And yeah, so again, like I said, still got some tornado warnings still in effect for parts of Minnesota, as you can see. So again, if you do live in St. Cloud, you gotta go to your safe spot, okay? That's the most interior room of your home, as many walls in between you and the outside as humanly possible. A tornado shelter or a basement is also a really good spot to go to as well if you do not have, you know, an interior room. But if you do, or if you don't have a basement, you know, the best spot to be is the most interior room. Let's see. Oh, Jesus. Not two now. Yeah, I'm sorry, Avery. But we are praying for those people, like I said, that they don't get hit by a tornado. And the good news, though, is that they are still radar indicated. 2-inch hail has been observed with those storms, but no tornado, thankfully, okay, which is good news. But if we go ahead and take a look at some of these other storms, you know, some 60-mile-per-hour winds have also been observed too as well with those storms. So, you know, definitely looking, you know, quite dangerous for those people. So we definitely still gotta be, you know, paying attention pretty closely as well. So we'll definitely, you know, continue to be on high alert. But yeah, and if we go ahead and go back to attic radar, still, we do have some little areas of rotation pretty much in that area right there that you see. So still keep an eye on that area. Still, you know, got kind of, you know, some reds touching those greens. Like I said, that can sometimes indicate a brief tornado, but it's pretty weak though, so you know, not really looking like very concerning rotation, but you know, still enough to where there could still be some brief spin up tornadoes, so we still got to be watching that area closely. But again, I am still concerned about this area the most, as that area does have a little bit stronger rotation. But let's go ahead and change this back to reflectivity so we can take a look at some other storms real quick. We'll quickly move back to those ones in just a second. But as you can see, you know, we still are needing to also be watching these ones as well down here in New Jersey. And as you can see, 60-mile-per-hour winds with some of these thunderstorms. But you know, even this one down here in New Jersey is also producing quite a bit of damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour. So we definitely are still needing to be watching that one closely. Let's see. Drew says, I don't know what you're going to do, Avery, but I will get down into a basement, as he said, does the trailer park on a side place where where you can go. So if you need help, Drew, like I said, you need to go into the most interior room of your home, and you must have as many walls in between you and the outside as humanly possible. Like I said, a tornado shelter or a basement is the safest spot. So, that is definitely the spot that you want to go if you are in the tornado warning. I don't know if you are, but if you are, you got to be doing that, Drew. But again, if you do live in St. Cloud, Minnesota, um, make sure to be in your safe spots. Again, Michigan isn't getting impacted. These are in Minnesota, as you can see. So just letting you guys know about that. Let's see. I'm asking her if she has a place to go, not to me. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. But yeah, so still looking at these areas, as you can see. So if we go ahead and take a look at the rotation, we actually do still have a little area of rotation right here. Might be another tornado warning pretty soon, especially if that area of rotation continues. And like I said, not really looking at any concerning areas of rotation, but at least enough to where there could still be a brief tornado somewhere. So we're still needing to, be watching very closely. So, yeah. But yeah, like I said, we are still keeping an eye on these tornado warnings still in effect for, some 60-mile-per-hour winds and 2-inch hail, but, also these other storms for some potential, spin up tornadoes. So, continue to be in your safe spots if you live in St. Cloud, but, especially lake water and as well as Clear Lake. So that is definitely an area that we do need to still be watching. But even Lake Henry, back down towards let's see, that is Rosque in Minnesota. So definitely be in your safe spots if you do live in those cities. But yeah, Avery, like I said, you do not need to, be taking shelter or worrying about anything right now because you are way over here, past the storms. You're way over here in Michigan, well away from these storms, so you'll be fine, Avery, and as well as you, Drew. Both of you guys, will be fine. There's no reason to, panic or be concerned about them just yet. But we can actually quickly go ahead and see if there's any showers or thunderstorms in Michigan. And as you can see, nothing shown around Michigan. So you guys are looking fine. So you guys will be fine across Michigan. It's just over here in Minnesota where we are the most concerned about right now. Let's see here. Sam, the severe weather tracker, said howdy. Hi, Sam. Thanks for joining. I really do appreciate it. And we already got 2 tornado warnings still in effect, one for St. Cloud, Minnesota, and another one for areas like Spring Hill, Lake Henry, and as well as Rescue in Minnesota. You guys need to, be in your safe spots if you guys do live in those areas. And like I said, both of you guys are looking fine because you guys are well away from these storms. So You guys are both looking fine for the most part. And if we check for any other thunderstorms, yeah, not really seeing any other thunderstorms. Besides maybe some down here towards New Mexico. Cause you can see another storm down here in Texas producing some 60 and 70 mile per hour winds in some areas. So we definitely do still need to be keeping an eye on these storms very closely. And then we also got another storm down here in Arizona to keep an eye on, as we still do have the potential for 1-inch hail and 60 mile per hour winds in those areas. So yeah, let's see here. Sam the Severe Weather Tracker says nobody live. So I'm just turning, and thank you for being live for this. You're welcome. Sam, the Severe Weather Tracker, you are welcome. I'm just, being live just in case, anyone lives in this. It's fine if you don't live in a warning, just, doing this to help, keep people safe. So we are, still keeping an eye out for that. But, we just got a new tornado warning down here in Florida, and let's go ahead and update this again. Thanks for reminding me about that, Sam. I do appreciate that. But we just got another tornado warning for parts of Florida, pretty much just north of Miami, as we do have a radar indicated tornado warning. Let's go ahead and select this radar down here, and if we go ahead and take a look at the velocity, as you can see, I'm not really seeing much in the way of rotation, but something that it could be for is that a potential water spout might be coming off and heading into Fort Lauderdale. So if there's any rotation, it will probably be like, somewhere in this area, but we're not really seeing much in the way of rotation though, so it's probably has to do with a water spout or something. So if you do live in Fort Lauderdale, at least prepare for a water spout coming onto shore, and that could be one of the reasons why that is in effect. But that could also be, just some brief area of rotation that has been reported by a storm chaser, which, sometimes isn't always shown on radars, but, it was still enough to, at least concern me a little bit. So yeah, we still need to be watching those areas closely. And I'm gonna go ahead and change my title. 2 tornado warnings in Minnesota and 1 in Florida. So yeah, so that's pretty much my new title right there. 2 tornado warnings in Minnesota and 1 in Florida. So that's pretty unfortunate right there, if you guys, live in those areas. And again, if you guys, pretty much live in St. Cloud, looks like you guys still are included in that tornado warning. But that did just pass you, so you guys, stay in your safe spots just a little bit longer, and then you guys in St. Cloud will be able to come out. You guys in Lake Henry and as well as Spring Hill need to continue to be in your safe spots. And let's go ahead and check the rotation again with these storms. And yeah, still a little area of rotation. It's kind of broadening out though, so not really looking that concerning anymore. But, like I said, for this tornado warning, we can still sometimes see those brief spin-up tornadoes pretty much along the coast where you see those, greens and reds touching each other. But because, they're not very dark, it usually indicates some weaker rotation. So, you guys in St. Cloud, probably okay to start coming out at least now. But let's see here. I don't think it's CC though. I see. It's not CC, but yeah, so if we go ahead and go towards Florida again, let's go ahead and take a look at that tornado warning again. And yeah, like I said, could still mean, a brief water spout maybe coming onto shore. So let's go ahead and take a look at the velocity. And, again, not really seeing really much in the way of rotation. But like I said, that could still very well, have to do with a water spout or storm spar, pulling some brief rotation in some areas. So we still do, need to be keeping an eye out for those areas, as you can see. But this tornado warning has expired across St. Cloud, so you guys in this severe thunderstorm warning are allowed to get out of your guys' safe spots. So you guys are okay to get out of your safe spots if you guys do live in St. Cloud, Minnesota. So we are just going to be changing this to one tornado warning in Minnesota and one in Florida now. And we are also going to be going over and changing it to just 2. So we are starting to get a little bit better on the tornado warnings, thankfully. So yeah, definitely still got quite a bit. We're going to go ahead and also change our severe thunderstorm warnings. We're going to change that back to 7. So only 7 severe thunderstorm warnings and 2 tornado warnings are now in effect. So, nothing too much to worry about now, thankfully. And it looks like another one has expired. So, not really looking like we're going to have to deal with much in the way of tornado warnings in Minnesota, thankfully. So we're going to go ahead and change our title again. So we're going to change it to tornado warning in Florida. So there we go, tornado warning in Florida, and we're going to go ahead and change that to just 1 tornado warning now, which, it's good news, because, we don't want to deal with, tornado warnings, but, it's really good to, see these tornado warnings expire, because, like I said, we are praying for these people, but, it turns out that it wasn't as bad of rotation up here, as there was a few minutes ago. So that's good. So that's kind of the reason why they let those expire. And even some severe thunderstorm warnings have also expired. Let's see here. Avery says, where are you from, Sim? We are from Southwest Indiana. So we are also well away from the storms as well. But yeah, like I said, we are from Southwest Indiana, so we are perfectly fine because we are well away from those thunderstorms. But like I said, we are still continuing to be live for these tornado warnings in Florida still. So if you do live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, continue to be in your safe spots, as this could still be a tornado or a water spout around, which could be possible. So that's kind of one of the reasons why it could be, in effect. So, we definitely gotta, be paying attention to the system very closely. So yeah. Let's see here. I'm from Southwest Michigan. Yeah, you told me you were from Michigan. I knew where you were earlier in this video. So, you must live pretty close to Detroit then. But like I said, you are pretty far away from those thunderstorms. So like I said, both of us are looking fine. But again, we are still gonna be live for these tornado warnings in Florida. But as you can see, still got some tornado warning in effect for parts of Fort Lauderdale, heading up there towards Cold Springs, and as well as some other areas around there. So still needing to be in your safe spots if you guys do live in Fort Lauderdale. Let's look at the National Hurricane Center again, because, this area doesn't really have enough rotation to really concern me, so we're going to go ahead and quickly take a look at the National Hurricane Center again, and nothing has really changed, thankfully, but you guys who just joined, as you can see, we definitely, are still watching parts of Charleston and as well as Savannah, Georgia, for that potential of some very heavy rainfall. So, we still got to be watching those areas closely by the time we, do head into the beginning of next week. And that's kind of the reason why we do have a moderate risk for flash flooding across those areas. So, we definitely do need to, continue to be paying attention closely for these areas to potentially get impacted. So definitely gotta, be paying attention if you do live along those coastal areas of Georgia and South Carolina, and as well as northern Florida, which will pretty much be in that red color. Let's see here. Sam says there might be rotation warned in Painesville, Minnesota. Rotation picked up. Okay, let's go ahead and check that. So there's not really any tornado warning in effect, but if we go ahead and take a look at the velocity, I do get what you're saying that, some area of rotation is starting to pick up, as you can see. So yeah, you are right about that. Rotation is starting to pick up a little bit across Minnesota right there. That could probably start being tornado warned again. So let's hope they do tornado warn that pretty soon. And if we look at the correlation coefficient, no debris ball in effect. So we definitely are okay still. But yeah, that area could very well get tornado warned pretty soon. Which again, you are right about, Sam, and thanks for letting me know about that. But if we go ahead and go back down towards Florida again, which we still do have that tornado warning in effect, and let's go ahead and take a look at the velocity. As you guys can see, still not really seeing much in the way of rotation, but like I said, still could mean a water spout, so still be in your safe spots if you guys do live across Fort Lauderdale, Coral Springs, and as well as some other areas. So we definitely gotta be, needing to, be watching the weather pretty closely. Let's see here. Sam says, I'm using the same website as you. Really? Are you using Attic Radar? Because that's what I'm using. It's a free radar that's, really cool for doing live coverage, and that's exactly why I use it. I might end up buying, Radar Omega or something like that in the future, especially, after I get, a job or something like that. But yeah, I'm using Attic Radar. So I'm kind of surprised you're using the same one too, Sam. I'm glad to hear that. But we still, are watching parts of Minnesota pretty closely, as you can see. Still got some quarter-size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds in that storm. Still got, some 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds in that storm. Pretty much just to the east of St. Cloud. And let's look at the velocity again. And yeah, still got a decent area of rotation. It looks like it is starting to weaken down a little bit, but still enough rotation to where this could still get a tornado warning pretty soon. So we'll need to, be watching, this area very closely. Let's see here. Sam says, I don't have Radar Omega, but I will soon get it. I see. Yeah, Radar Omega is pretty cool, and that's exactly why I'm planning on buying it by the time, I get a little bit older. So yeah, I'm planning on buying Radar Omega too, and that will really help me with live coverage, and, I'll be able to get to more storm chasers, so it will be really cool. I think it will come in handy for us, so we'll definitely try to get it pretty soon. Not like soon, but in at least a few years. So that's something we are thinking about getting too. But if we look at this tornado warning again in Florida, again, not really seeing, much in the way of rotation. As you can see, we might start seeing, a little bit of rotation starting to pop up in some areas. But like I said, if anything, this is probably going to be a water spout. At least that looks to be the most likely concern. So, we are still watching very closely, for the potential of, a water spout. Moving on to Florida. So that's something we are still gonna be watching for, and I'm gonna go ahead and fill up my cup again with some more water. All right, got that. And I'm gonna go ahead and quickly grab a charging cord. Yeah, I'm going to quickly go ahead and grab a charging cord, so I will be right back. But if you hear that, that's just some of my family downstairs watching a movie, so I'll be right back. Yeah, so yeah, I finally grabbed it. So just a second. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. So yeah, we definitely, are still watching closely for, some of these areas. Still got that tornado warning in effect for parts of Florida. So, if you do live in that area, still continue to be in your safe spots just in case, of a brief spin up tornado. But like I said, it's more than likely going to be more of a water spout, if anything, because we aren't really seeing much in the way of rotation. These storms back up here to the north. Let's go ahead and check the velocity again. And as you can see, not really seeing much rotation, but it is starting to strengthen a little bit, as you can see, just north of Paynesville. So we'll at least need to be watching that area pretty closely for that potential. But as of right now, not really seeing a ton of rotation, but that is enough to where that could very well get tornado warned pretty soon. So we'll need to, be keeping an eye out for that. But yeah, so if we go ahead and take a look down here across Arizona again, as you can see, still got, quite a bit of storms around here with some penny-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds for those areas down over there in Arizona. And then we got another storm to still be keeping an eye on that is still producing some 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts and some penny-sized hail in those areas. So we'll still continue to be watching those areas. Let's see here. Rocky says, "Hi, I'm here in the tornado warning area." Really, you must be in Florida, right? You must be near the Fort Lauderdale area, because that's the only tornado warning we currently have in effect, which we did have some up here towards St. Cloud, Minnesota, but like I said, the tornado warning that we have is down here towards, Coral Springs and as well as Fort Lauderdale in Minnesota. So we definitely are still going to continue to be watching those areas very closely. Like I said, more than likely it's water spout, because we didn't really see a ton of rotation, but still enough to where that could very well be something. So we'll still be watching that area closely. Let's see. Avery says, "I gotta go, Sim. My sister ran out of gas. Gotta help her. Nice talking to you. Bye." Bye, Avery. Thank you so much for joining me. That is very nice of you, and I hope you, do have a great day. Let's see here. Rocky says, "Yes, I am in Sunrise, Florida." So, yeah. That is pretty close to, Fort Lauderdale, and it's right here. So yeah, you are in that tornado warning. So gotta be in your safe spot if you haven't gone there already. But it would probably be okay, because this is actually getting ready to expire in just a second. So you are looking fine if you haven't got into your safe spot already. But just be in there just in case, though, because like I said, there could still be a water spout coming onto shore and doing some crazy stuff on shore. But like I said, that is just getting ready to expire, so you are looking all right for the most part. But let's see here. Sam says, "Rocky, get to shelter." Rocky's okay, Sam. This is actually gonna expire in 30 seconds, so we'll be all right. And then back over here towards Minnesota, as you can see, still got some 1 inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds with that storm right there, as you can see. So we definitely need to still be watching very closely for that up here in Minnesota. And let's see, this storm is just going to expire, and it says it was underfined, which means it expired when it should have. So definitely okay to be out of your safe spots because it's gonna be expiring pretty soon. So feel free to get out of your safe spot, Rocky. Like I said, you are looking fine, because like I said, this tornado warning is just gonna expire, and of course it did, as you can see. So we're gonna go ahead and change our video title, and we're going to change it to coverage. So live coverage. There we go. So we don't have any tornado warnings in effect anymore, which is good. But let's see here. Not really sure how to say your name, but I was near the tornado warning in St. Cloud, Minnesota. Really. Yeah, you are looking fine now, because, that storm has already passed you, but, still dealing with a little bit of heavy rain, and as well as some lightning there. So, we are still watching very closely, for the potential of some thunderstorms. And let's go ahead and change this back to 0. We don't have any tornado warnings in effect, but we are still going to be keeping it at 7 for the severe thunderstorm warnings, because we still have some of those. So, like I said, thankfully no severe thunderstorm or I mean tornado warnings in effect. So, not really looking very concerning, but we're still going to be live, because, some of these areas could get tornado warned again. But while we don't really have a ton, let's go ahead and look at the models again, which we haven't looked at for quite a bit, but we're going to look at the models again. And just to let you guys know, is that, we could very well, be seeing the strengthen, and wow, this actually shows it strengthening near category 2. That's a pretty big change compared to what I showed earlier in this live stream. So yeah, that is definitely looking a little bit more concerning, that we might see a little bit stronger of a hurricane. Still expecting, more of a low end Cat 1 hurricane, but, still enough to where, we could very well maybe be seeing this rapidly intensifying your category 2. Let's see here. Sam says, is there any way I could be a mod sim? I don't really know, Sam. I don't really know that answer, but, we also, are still keeping an eye out, for, the paths, because, these, models are kind of showing some weird, paths. This could really take, and as you can see, this could either go, straight up the East Coast, or this could, either, maybe make a turn in some areas. So we'll have to, see what this thing does. But we definitely gotta still be watching very closely for, the potential of some, heavy rainfall in some areas farther inland, because like I said, this could very well, continue to be a thing farther inland. And so, areas far inland will need to be on high alert for sure. So, we'll definitely continue to watch that part closely. And then if we look at some more potential tracks, this isn't really what we really need to be looking for. We try to look more at models, but as you can see, we do have another way that this could take, and it looks like this could very well be heading through northern South Carolina into North Carolina into Virginia, maybe even as far north as Pennsylvania, but, not really looking like that's going to be the most concerning track, as, again, most of them all show this pretty much along the coast. But another way that this could also take is this one right here. As you can see, this one pretty much shows it going right into Florida and then pretty much turning and continuing inland. So that's, a pretty wild change compared to what we have been seeing, guys. So definitely not looking good for a lot of people out there. Not looking very good for sure. So you guys should definitely, be on high alert. And let's go ahead and refresh this so that way we can get a little bit better look at this. But yeah. Let's see here. Let's see. Hello from Quouter. Is that how you say that? Let's see. Where is that? Let's go ahead and look and see where that is. I never heard about that city, by the way, but let's go see where that is. So, Quatar. Let's go see. Let's go see where that is. So Quouter, West Asia. That's interesting. West Asia. I see. I see. Where that is. I see. So you definitely do live quite far away from here, but I'm still glad you are joining me. I really do appreciate that, my friend. I really do appreciate you joining me, even though you are far away. So yeah, I absolutely get it. And let's go ahead and search just a little bit more. Like I said, I never heard about it before, but I'm really wanting to know exactly where that is. And let's go ahead and look at this for a little bit. And we're gonna go ahead and go to we're gonna go ahead and scroll down so we can see some more things about it. But yeah, like I said, you do live quite far away from here, which again is pretty interesting. And again, I never heard about it before, but yeah, some people do join from other places. So again, I really do appreciate you joining me. But let's see here. Sam says, how old are you? I am 13. I am 13 years old. I am actually going to turn 14 pretty soon. So this is, pretty young job for me, but I am definitely getting better at it. Let's see here. Thank you, my friend. You are very welcome, my friend. You are very welcome. And again, I really do appreciate you joining me. And yeah. Like I said, I never seen that place before, but it's definitely, one of the places that, I kind of want to, see. So, that's definitely, quite interesting, my friend. Like I said, that's quite interesting that you live way far over here. So, again, I absolutely get it. Let's see here. You are young. Yeah, like I said, this is kind of a young job for me, but like I said, I am getting better at it for sure. If you want to know another young person, there's actually another one called Mr. Storm. I don't know if you know him, but Mr. Storm, which is another meteorologist on YouTube, he is pretty young as well, from what I can tell. So you can also go see his channel if you want to as well. But I'm pretty much doing the same thing as what he is doing. But as you can also see, we continue to still be watching, parts of Florida pretty closely for the system, and thankfully no tornado warnings in effect, but still that one up here in Minnesota still does have the potential of producing some 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds with that storm right there, as you can see. Let me go ahead and look at something for just a second. Okay, just wanted to make sure everything was still okay. But let's see here. That's amazing. Thank you very much. You are being very, very nice to me, my friend. Like I said, it's a really young job for me, but yeah, I'm sure I'm getting better at it. And again, that is very nice of you to tell me that. And if we also look down here towards Arizona, which we haven't looked at for a little while, so these storms have obviously changed a little bit, but still producing some penny-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds just south of Phoenix. So that is definitely going to be an area to still be watching for. Over here towards parts of Texas, still watching for 70-mile-per-hour winds and even some penny-sized hail. Let's see here. Hope everybody stays safe. Yes, I do hope too. We actually did have quite a bit of tornado warnings in effect just, a couple moments ago, but, those are now expired, so now it's a little bit of a different story, as you can probably tell. But we don't really have a whole lot of severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, so we're going to go ahead and change our severe thunderstorm warnings to 6 or 7 or 5 rather. We're gonna change it to 5. So yeah, definitely don't have as much as we're doing. And let's see, Rocky says, thank you, you are doing a very good job. Thank you very much for telling me that, Rocky. I really do appreciate that. And let's just, quickly go ahead and check on these storms again towards Florida. Again, Rocky, you can get out of your safe spot. We don't have any warnings in effect, so you are looking good for the most part, but we still do have some showers and storms around, capable of producing, maybe a water spout. Still gonna be a possibility. Which, like I said, that's probably why that tornado warning was in effect, but, it's still, to the point where, it's not really looking like a huge concern. And then, over here, towards, let's see, Virginia, let's go ahead and look at these areas again. Still got some showers and thunderstorms around, but, it's not really looking like anything that concerning, so we'll still need to, be watching these areas very closely, as, these areas could very well, still be seeing some showers and thunderstorms. And then back over here towards Long Island, we still do have, a special marine warning in effect. So thankfully those storms have died down. I was afraid New York City was going to get impacted, but turns out they didn't. Which is good, but, we still do have, special marine warning in effect off the coast. Let's see here. Meyer Weather says, hello there, Meyer Weather. Thanks for joining me. I really do appreciate that. We are just continuing, to do live coverage still. So, we did have tornado warnings a few minutes ago, but it turns out that those have expired, thankfully, so there's nothing, much we really need to be talking about, but, we are still at least continuing to be watching, the storm system that is likely to, cause some pretty big impacts across parts of Florida, for sure. But we did actually forget to take a look at the Storm Prediction Center update, which did come out about an hour ago. And as you guys can see, we still do have a threat for some large hail across parts of Minnesota. So we might still continue to see some large hail storms. And we still do continue to see that tornado threat continue across Minnesota and as well as Florida. So nothing much has changed with Minnesota or Florida, but that slight risk has decreased quite a bit across parts of the East Coast. So, definitely not really looking like a huge concern as what we did see, but, still enough to where we will still be alive for a little bit, just in case something does end up happening. So we'll continue to be live for that. But if we go ahead and take a look at what we are still seeing, if we look at Minnesota again, still 1-inch hail, which has been observed, by the way, and 60-mile-per-hour winds. So we still got, a lot of things in Minnesota to still be worrying about, as some of these other storms could very well strengthen. So we still are watching those ones very closely. let's see here. The United States been go through a lot of storms lately. Oh yeah, the United States is definitely one of the most stormiest countries in the world. I can really tell you that. The United States even sees the most tornadoes too as well, if you didn't know that. So, of course, the United States is one of the stormiest countries in the United in the world. So, it's definitely gonna be stormy quite often here in the United States. It's more stormy than it is dry, but yeah, like I said, the United States is one of the most stormiest countries in the world, so we sure do see the most tornadoes as well. So yeah, of course. But if we look at down here towards Arizona again, as you guys can see, just south of Phoenix, still do have some 60-mile-per-hour winds and even some penny-sized hail still being a possibility with those storms down there in Arizona. So we'll still be keeping an eye out for that. Let's see here. You like what? I do you like that there's a lot of storms in the United States? Is that what you're trying to tell me? But I definitely, would appreciate if the United States wasn't the stormiest country. But like I said, it sure is one of the stormiest countries in the world, like I said. So it's definitely, one of those areas that also sees the most tornadoes as well, unfortunately, like I said. So that's kind of why we also saw those tornado warnings in effect. But we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning. This one does have a tornado possible tag on it, so at least enough to where, there could be some concerning rotation with it. So we're going to go ahead and check the velocity. And as you can see, not really seeing a ton of rotation. We are starting to see some of those, little things pop up right there, which could indicate, some broad rotation, as you can see. So some very broad rotation could be there, but not really looking, like a whole lot concerning. But let's see here. Yes, okay, just making sure that's what you were really wanting. But yeah, like I said, I am not glad that the United States is the stormiest country in the world. Like I said, I wish, it was kind of even with each country in the world. I wish it was, more even on dryness and, more even on how wet places get. But like I said, we just get a lot of these thunderstorms, which, we kind of are used to now that things have changed due to climate. So, we definitely are still paying attention to these storms. But let's look at down here towards Louisiana again. And as you can see, Louisiana does have quite a bit of some storms around, especially over here, as you can see, which, could produce some 35-mile-per-hour wind gusts, which is possible. And if we go ahead and take a look up here towards Minnesota, let's see here. Sam says rotation in Minnesota near Lynchfield. Okay. Let's see what that is. Lynchfield. Okay. I see what that is. And if we'll go ahead and take a look at the rotation. And let's see. Just gotta wait for this to load. Alright, so there we go. I actually forgot to select the radar, but you are correct, my friend. We've got a little area of rotation, but not enough to be tornado warned though. So just letting you know that that is very, very broad rotation, as you can see. Especially because those reds aren't as dark, in the latest scan that you just saw right there even shows some weaker rotation. So might be a tornado warning, but like I said, not enough to really, concern me. So not really looking that concerning at all. Let's see here. I hope to come to the United States soon. Really, I actually hope to come to the other side of the world soon, because I actually do hope that, I think that Dubai would be one of those cool places to visit. So I think I might visit somewhere around there when I get older. So I actually do hope to come to, somewhere around Africa when I get older. So yeah, I hope to visit that area soon as well. So we'll definitely try to. And yeah, so, again, not really seeing much in the way of rotation, but still enough to where, there could very well be some areas of rotation. And like I said, it's not that concerning, but still enough to where, we still need to be keeping an eye on. Let's see. That's fun. Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun. I heard about Dubai and it's a really cool city. So yeah, it will be fun for me when I get older, of course. Still got that severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Florida, with the potential of some 60-mile-per-hour winds and as well as some penny-sized hail. Let's see. That same storm was talking about it had a hook with rotation. Really? Let me go check that out. And yeah, it is starting to develop a little bit. Like I said, Sam, you don't really need to keep telling me that, but like I said, it's very weak rotation, okay? Because it's not enough to be tornado warned, but it is enough to where there could at least start being some tornadic features. So yeah, you are right, Sam. There is still rotation with it, but like I said, Sam, not enough rotation for it to be tornado warned. So that's the reason why it's not tornado warned, is because it doesn't really have a whole lot of rotation with it. So I got it, Sam. I'll know when to go up there if there's a tornado warning, but I still do appreciate you telling me when there's rotation up there, which, like I said, there is enough to where there could be something, but like I said, not enough to be tornado warning. So it's gonna be okay for the most part as of right now. Let's see here. All right. Okay, sorry. You're fine, Sam. You can still tell me that if you want. But like I said, it's just not enough for there to be a tornado warning yet. So just telling you. And then farther down here to the south, across Florida, still got another area of rotation for, a tornado possible tag. And let's actually go ahead and take a look at the velocity scan. And yeah, I'm not really seeing much rotation, but still enough to where, there might be, a brief tornado or something right there. So if you do, live in the severe thunderstorm warning, be prepared just in case there's a brief tornado, and that does include more heaven in Florida. And then if we look down here towards Arizona again, as you guys can see, we are still, continuing to watch this, system very closely, as this could still, be bringing the potential for some, 60-mile-per-hour winds, penny-sized hail across some areas. So we still gotta, be watching Arizona very closely, as that potential will still be there. So we'll certainly still be on the lookout for those areas. And then, over here across the East Coast, kind of, starting to get a little bit less stormy, because, we don't really see much in the way of storms, and none of them are severe ones. So, that storm activity kind of has died down. But like you did say earlier, Sam, we still do have a little area of rotation up here we are still keeping an eye on. Like I said, still not enough to be tornado warned, but still enough to where, we could, very well see a tornado warning soon. So we'll have to see. Let's see. What good state to visit for storms? The state that I would recommend that, sees the most storms would be Texas. Texas usually sees the most storms during the spring, and I know you might not think that because we aren't really seeing much in the way of tornado warnings or, severe thunderstorm warnings right now in Texas, but it's pretty much when it gets to springtime here in the United States, that's usually when we start to really see heavy rain, flooding, even severe weather outbreaks, and as well as tornado outbreaks in Texas, which a lot of that have shifted off to the east. So now these other years will likely be more tornadic across the mid Mississippi Valley, but Texas still is one of the states that does get the most storms. So Texas is definitely one of those stormier states for sure. And then if we look at Minnesota again, not really seeing much in the way of rotation. Plus, that has died down quite a bit, which isn't surprising because surface heating is kind of over for today. So that kind of is why a lot of these storms are dying down, but still enough to where there could still be something going on. So we'll be keeping an eye on it. And then back down here towards Arizona again, as you guys can see, still got a severe thunderstorm warning in effect in effect for Arizona for 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-size hail. Let's see here. I'll go to Texas. Really, you don't really have to go to Texas, my friend. If you flew here to the United States, I wouldn't really rely on storms. I would rather rely more on like what's happening and things like that, which is more of what determines on where you want to go. Like I say, Dubai was really cool, so I think that's one of the places that I want to visit when I get older. So I wouldn't necessarily do it by storms, but I think one of the best places to visit if you came here would be New York City. I think New York City would be an amazing place for you to come and visit, as New York City is actually one of the most populated cities in the world, actually. So, not the most populated city, but a city that is very populated. So, like I said, New York City is definitely one of those cities that people should go and visit if visiting the United States. But I can at least see, how you really like, storms and how, want and how you want to see them. So it's really your choice, but like I said, I do recommend New York City for any people who want to come and visit the United States. But, rotation again, still a little area, but not really looking that concerning though, however, so, still keeping an eye on it, but it's not really looking that concerning though, so we'll still continue to be watching it closely. And then, let's go ahead and change back to reflectivity. So let's see. I think about it. That's fine. You can think about it whenever you would like to, my friend. And again, New York City is a very populated city, but also a really cool place to go and visit. So again, that's just the place I recommend, but it's really your choice. So I don't really mind wherever you go in the United States. You could even fly to Indianapolis if you wanted to. Just whatever you think would be best is up to you. But like I said, I recommend New York City being the place to fly to if you want. But just your choice, so I will let you choose. And then if we look back down here towards Texas again, as you guys can see, still got quite a bit of storms still producing 70-mile-per-hour winds and as well as some penny size hail still. So still gotta, be keeping an eye on that storm system right there. So we'll still, continue to be watching it very closely as it, continues to, be something to keep an eye on. So we'll continue to do that. And then back up here towards Utah, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning, or a flash flood warning rather, in effect because of a slow moving thunderstorm that has rolled on through. So we'll definitely, be keeping an eye on that. But I do need to use the restroom. So just give me 1 minute. I'll be quick. Alright, I am finally back now from using the restroom. Let's see. Okay. That's just fine, my friend. That's just fine. And let's look at a few more warnings. And let's also look at the National Hurricane Center again, because that's one of the main reasons why we went it live. Plus, we haven't took a look at that for a little bit, so let's go ahead and do that. And, still nothing much has changed yet. But we could really still be seeing some coastal impacts of South Carolina and as well as Georgia, as it does seem possible that 12 to 16 inches of rainfall may occur in those areas these next few days, and that's kind of the reason why we do have a moderate risk for flash flooding in those areas. So be on high alert if you do live in this red shaded color the next few days, if I not all of next week, okay? And then for the probability, as you can see, we do certainly are still watching, very closely for the potential of tropical storm force winds in that area, but we could even be seeing some hurricane force winds, especially if this thing chooses to rapidly intensify off the coast, so we'll need to be paying attention to that. And then let's look at the cone of uncertainty, and as you guys can see, still expected to be, a category 1 hurricane as it does get closer to Florida, and then, pretty much going to be making a boomerang turn, so pretty much going to be heading into Atlantic, and then pretty much making a full turn and moving up to the north. So we'll definitely need to be keeping an eye on that. But it looks like we just got a new tornado warning in effect. This is for places like Minnesota. So these places like Lake Lillen in Minnesota, and as well as Acton, and as well as Rosendale in Minnesota do need to be in their safe spots. And this is pretty much in Minnesota, like I said, my friend. So we definitely got to be watching this area very closely. And if we look at the velocity, yeah, we do have a little area of rotation. Not enough to concern me just yet, but like I did say earlier, enough to where there might be a tornado warning. But, not like super concerning rotation though, but we'll keep an eye on that because that storm sure does have some with it. So we'll keep an eye on it for you. And then let's see here. That was the storm I was talking about. I know, Sam. I know you're talking about that storm. You told me that a few moments ago, and I just knew that that storm still had some rotation with it. And again, I appreciate you letting me know about this stuff, but I kind of will already know this. Let's see here. North State. It is one of the states in the northern U.S., but the name of it is Minnesota, my friend. The name of it is Minnesota, but you are right about, it's pretty much being in the northern United States, as you can see, because right here is pretty much the border. So, yeah, you are right. It is a North State, but it is Minnesota for the name of it. And if we look back down here towards Arizona again, as you guys can see, still gotta be paying attention down here as well, as we still do have some thunderstorms capable of producing 60-mile-per-hour winds and even some penny-sized hail. So we'll, continue to be watching that area very closely, as it does continue to, be a threat. So we'll definitely watch that area closely. And let's see here. Minnesota, correct, my friend. Minnesota is correct. And even, up here to the north, still gotta, be in your guys' safe spots if you guys do live in Action in Minnesota, and as well as Lake Lilin, and as well as Cosmos, which isn't in the tornado warning, but it's probably going to get tornado warned pretty soon, so I do want you guys to be in your safe spots also, as we do have some areas of rotation. And let's go ahead and select the velocity on that. And yeah, some areas of rotation, as you can see right there. So, we definitely gotta be, watching this very closely, for the potential of that. And let's go ahead and circle that area of rotation, which is pretty much right here. So, we'll be watching that area to potentially be, getting tornado warned pretty soon. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that one. And then for the velocity, or the correlation coefficient, there might be a little bit of something starting to show up right there, but not enough to really confirm that there's really a debris ball. So we'll still watch this system very closely. So we're starting to see something pull up, like I said, but not enough to really confirm that it's really, being a tornado on the ground. This will have to be a little bit bigger to confirm that, but it is starting to get a little bit more concerning. So make sure to be in your safe spots. And it's still radar indicated. So, like I said, not enough to really confirm that there is a tornado on the ground, plus it is still radar indicated, which means nothing has confirmed it yet. But, enough to where, there could, maybe start being something starting to touch. Let's see here. Fascinating, of course. It is really fascinating, with weather radars for sure. Like I said, this is pretty much where the area of rotation usually is in a storm. And when we check that out, like I said, little area of rotation, like I said, pretty much in that area right there. Let me draw that a little bit better so you guys can understand. And the correlation coefficient, like I said, not enough to really confirm, but, it is definitely to the point where, we could very well start seeing something touch the ground pretty soon. So if you do live in this area, or in this tornado warning in Minnesota, which does include areas near Lake Elizabeth, make sure to be in your safe spots, guys. It's definitely gonna be, something to really be keeping an eye on, okay? Because, like I said, not enough to really confirm that there's one on the ground, but enough to where, there could very well be something trying to touch. And as you can see, it still has that pretty fascinating hook shape to it. And for the velocity scanned, still got an area of rotation, as you can see. So we'll still be watching that area of rotation right there. And if we take a look at the correlation coefficient, as you can see, we actually are starting to see a little bit of something starting to pop up right there, which it isn't in the entire circle, but there might start to be, you know, something touching the ground, and it might start lifting debris. So not enough just yet, but we are getting to the point where people need to be in their safe spots just in case. So if you do live in Rosendale, you gotta be in your safe spots right now. This could very well drop a tornado at any moment. So let me go ahead and change my title. So yeah. Um So we definitely, you know, still gotta be watching, you know, these areas really closely, as you can see. So, like I said, you know, still got enough rotation to say, you know, there could very well, you know, be some areas of rotation. And, you know, again, we got at least enough to say that, you know, there could very well start being something on the ground. And if you're wondering what CC means, that means correlation coefficient. Makes sense because, you know, both start with a C. And, you know, for velocity, you know, like I said, you know, still got a little area of rotation. And if we look at the correlation coefficient, starting to see a little bit more of a debris ball popping up, so there could be a brief tornado on the ground. But you know, there is, you know, enough to where, you know, there could very well, you know, be one on the ground, like you said. So we still got to be paying attention to that storm right there, as you can see. And then we go back to the reflectivity. It's a little skippy, by the way, but if we go back to the reflectivity, we actually do have another severe thunderstorm warning in effect, just getting ready to impact areas just to the west of Minneapolis. And this one is likely to, you know, bring some penny-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds with that storm right there. Areas over here still need to be in their safe spots. Still radar indicated, so that's at least enough to say that there isn't really any rotation on the ground. But, you know, we still got to be, you know, keeping an eye on it. And as you can see, still got a little area of rotation. And so we'll definitely, you know, still need to, you know, be watching closely for something like that to happen. And as you can see, a little bit of a debris ball might start popping up pretty soon. So we'll definitely, you know, need to be watching pretty closely, you know, for this to maybe start getting a little bit, you know, more fascinating, because, you know, we could definitely be seeing something on the ground by now. But from what we know so far, doesn't really look like we really are seeing one on the ground just yet. But we'll be watching very closely still. And then we still got this other one just to the west of Minneapolis, and I can see penny-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour wind still possible with that thunderstorm as it rolls on through. And the next severe thunderstorm warning will likely include, you know, Minneapolis, as this is still expected to be on the severe side. So we'll continue to be watching those areas very closely.
Wrap it up soon.
But yeah. So, you know, we'll continue to be watching very closely for these areas. And I'll be right back for just a second.
You gotta end it. Yeah. No, you gotta wrap it up. Stay safe. You gotta sign off.
All right, sorry about that, guys. I was just talking to my dad about something for just a little bit. But, again, we are still, watching this tornado warning closely for some 1-inch hail and, a possible tornado, which, isn't on the ground yet, like I said, because, still got a little area of rotation right there, as you can see. And correlation coefficient actually does show less in the way of a debris ball. So if anything's on the ground, it has lifted up. So not really looking like a huge concern anymore. So you guys still stay in your safe spots just in case, because we could still very well be seeing a little bit of debris due to strong damaging winds. But we still need to be keeping an eye on this very closely. So we'll continue to be watching it. And yeah, little strong rotation still, but like I said, not a debris ball showing up. So if anything were to be on the ground, it has definitely already lifted. So we'll still need to be watching that closely. Let's see here. Is it big? No, it's not big. And like I said, it's not enough to really say that there's one on the ground. Plus, there isn't a debris ball showing up anymore. So, no, it's not really, a big, tornado, big rotation or anything like that. But, it is at least enough to where, there could have been a brief drop just a few minutes ago when that debris ball was starting to show up just a little bit. So, we'll have to see how things begin as we continue to head into a little bit. So we'll see how things do in the next few minutes and see if this thing really starts getting a little bit more rotation with it, or if this thing chooses to do it. But I did actually forget to update my thing. Forgot to put it one tornado warning on there. There we go. And yeah, like I said, still seeing, some in the way of maybe a rotation. But like I said, it's just not showing a debris ball anymore. So like I said, if there was any rotation on the ground or if there was any tornado on the ground, it has lifted. So everyone is looking all right in this tornado warning, but still be in your safe spots just in case, okay? Still be in your safe spots. And then, over here, towards the East Coast, still keeping an eye on this tropical system, because, as you can see, already 40-mile-per-hour winds with Debby right now, Tropical Storm Debby. But, we're still concerned about, up here in Minnesota, as we could, really be seeing that potential of some stronger rotation. So, yeah. We're just going to change our video title. We're going to change it to tornado warning in Minnesota. So we're going to go ahead and change that. There we go. So, just a tornado warning in Minnesota now. Doesn't really look like one's going to drop, especially because that rotation has weakened. But let's go ahead and check it again. And if we look at it again, as you can see, still have some rotation, as you can see. But, like I said, not enough to really say that, there's one on the ground, because you see no debris ball at all. So, like I said, it obviously has lifted. If there was one on the ground, it probably would have been, more of a brief tornado, because, that debris ball wasn't there for very long. So, we'll continue to be watching that area closely, just in case it chooses to, re-strengthen again and maybe start rotating a little bit more. But back to the reflectivity, again, still watching, areas just to the west of Minneapolis for, the potential, about, some penny-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds with that storm right there. So we'll definitely, need to be watching that system very closely before it reaches Minneapolis. Let's see here. I heard a lot about Hurricane Debby. Yeah, a lot of people have heard about Hurricane Debby because, right now it's a tropical storm. so it's not actually a hurricane, but we are saying, it's really going to be upgrading to a Category 1 hurricane. So, you can call it Hurricane Debby if you want. We really are expecting this to, really strengthen to a Cat 1 hurricane, maybe even a Cat 2, because some of the models were starting to show that. But from what we know so far, just a Cat 1 hurricane still expected. So we'll continue to be watching it pretty closely. But if we go ahead and go back up to the north again, as you can see, still got a tornado warning in effect. And if we look at the velocity, as you can see, still got, a little area of rotation. But if we look at the correlation coefficient, still no debris ball, which is good. So nothing much to worry about there. But something else that I do want to show you guys is that we actually do have some areas of rotation along this line of storm says getting ready to, move into Minneapolis. And like I said with, the tornado warning, that was just to the east of St. Cloud earlier in the stream. When you usually see these greens touching the reds like this, sometimes that can indicate maybe a brief spin up possible, but definitely not enough to really say that there's gonna really be one on the ground. Let's see here. Scary. Yep, it is a pretty scary situation, my friend. It is a pretty scary situation that Debby could really strengthen into a Category 1 hurricane. So pretty scary. Sure is. Sure is scary for sure. So we'll definitely continue keeping people updated with that system for sure as it will continue. And then again still keeping an eye out for areas just to the west of Minneapolis before it reaches that area. So we'll continue to be watching those areas very closely. And then this area right here, still, chance that there might be, some spin up tornado, but like I say, still, some rotation, but no debris ball, thankfully, as you can see. So, if anything, something might have dropped a few minutes ago, but like I said, it's not really looking like a concern anymore. And then if we look at Hurricane Debby, again, as you can see, likely to turn into Category 1 hurricane by the time we do head into Monday. So we'll definitely, need to be watching these areas, very closely, like I said. So we'll need to be doing that. Let's see here. What other two X down at the Pacific Ocean? So those indicate tropical waves. The reason why we haven't been talking about these in the Eastern Pacific is because they aren't going to impact anyone. So as you can see, there are some hurricanes and tropical storms in the Eastern Pacific, but they're not going to impact anyone, okay? The reason why we aren't talking about these, like I said, is because they're not going to impact anyone. This is the only system in the Atlantic Ocean that's gonna be impacting Florida. So that's the reason why we haven't been talking about these, is because that's the only system that's really impacting land, while these others are just having fun in the ocean pretty much. So let's see here. New NHC update. Okay, let's check that out. So I'm gonna go ahead and exit out, and we're going to go ahead and refresh our tab. Okay, it don't look like a lot has changed with the rain, but the tropical storm force winds have changed quite a bit, as you can see, and even the hurricane force wind probability even went it up a lot too. So yes, things have changed quite a bit with the probability. And this could actually, become a Category 1 hurricane before it reaches the coast, and that's kind of what we're seeing right there, as you can see. So we're definitely, looking like a little bit more concerning situation for those areas, unfortunately. And we're going to go ahead and turn off the hurricane track. So I'm going to go to settings, and we are going to go to hurricane. Let's see, where do I go to that? I forgot. Okay, there we go. We're gonna turn it off and then turn it back on, and yeah, still pretty much just the same thing still on this. But yeah, definitely looking like we could very well, be seeing a potential tropical storm right now, and then pretty much turning into a category 1 hurricane, like I said. For the flash flood potential, still got that area in red, still indicate a pretty decent chance for flash flooding, and we still do have hurricane warnings in effect, but look at that, up to 10 feet of storm surge, guys. 10 feet of storm surge. 10 feet of storm surge is crazy. You know how deep that is. That is gonna be bad, like you said, my friend. That is really gonna be pretty bad across parts of Florida. So if you do live in this red color right near the coast, make sure to be ready for some pretty bad storm surge, guys. We are going to really be talking a pretty impactful hurricane now that the National Hurricane Center has really, showed this definitely getting up to Category 1 strength before, hitting the coast, and maybe even turning into Category 2, which is, what some of the models are showing, low end Category 2 hurricane, as you can see. So yeah, that is gonna be bad, my friend. That is not gonna be that fun for people. So we'll have to see how it really plays out. Like I said, up to 10 feet of storm surge is definitely gonna be possible. And that isn't 10 feet of rain, my friend. That's 10 feet of water. So when you're talking about storm surge, you're talking about waves from the ocean moving onto shore, creating areas as deep as 10 feet. So it's kind of like filling up a swimming pool with water. Like I said, waves pretty much coming onto shore, filling up areas of land, making some areas as much as 10 feet deep. So that's what storm surge is, my friend. It's not about that we're going to see 10 feet of rain, which would be very historic, by the way. It's about that we're going to be seeing these waves moving onto shore, creating some areas as deep as 10 feet of water. So that's what storm surge is. It's not rain, it's waves creating deep water in some areas. So that's what it is, my friend. But we will, continue to keep you guys updated on the weather. Like I said, we do expect 10 feet of storm surge with this hurricane now, unfortunately. And I will be giving you guys an update on this tomorrow morning. So if you guys, want to be notified about this storm, make sure to click that like button down below, subscribe, and as well as click that bell icon if you haven't already. And you guys, and feel free to leave anything in the chat before we end the stream right here, because we don't have really much in the way of anything to talk about across the United States. Plus it is getting really late, by the way, and I am getting really tired. So like I said, we're gonna start wrapping it up, and don't forget to like and subscribe down below if you haven't already. Click that notification button if you haven't already either, and also don't forget to leave anything in the chat that you want to right now before we end this stream. And like I said, this is really going to be a pretty big event. Let's see here. Sam the severe weather tracker says CC. Okay, let's quickly check that before we end this live stream. Okay, so let's go to the correlation coefficient. Something is, popping up, but that isn't really a debris ball though, because, see how there's blue, off the edges, of these other things. So, what you're showing is, just, some correlate, it's just some blue, pretty much off the, other colors. So that isn't really indicating any drop. However, there is, still some decent area of rotation, so we'll definitely still need to be watching that area pretty closely. But like I said, we are going to start ramping up the stream. Let's see. Good night, my friend. Good night, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Like I said, don't forget to like and subscribe down below if you haven't already, and don't forget to click that notification bell down below too as well, so you guys are notified whenever I do go live, which I might end up doing one tomorrow, so that way we can cover Hurricane Debby for an hour or two, where we aren't going to be live all day, but we definitely will be live, some of the day. So again, make sure to click that notification bell down below if you haven't already, and we will continue to keep you guys updated on Hurricane